Morning, everybody. I like that, Jay. I like Thumbs Up Friday. I think that's a nice, happy way to look at the day.
Ah, shut up. Figured I'd throw my a-hole moment in at 5:58.
Yeah. By the way, David, this is my clock right here on my phone. I had to download an old school clock, so I've got
that.
Well, the iPhone clock does not have seconds.
It's true.
By the way, Iowa down 3 late. You know what Michigan did? They fouled. Now they did somehow. I think they were afraid to foul late to put them on the line for 3, where the guy might just try to chuck it from midcourt. But
right,
because they did get off a 3 to try to tie it at the end, but they had one with 20 seconds or so. That's funny, Brian. By the way, look out, Lightning. Sabres are just kicking everybody's ass.
Yes, they are.
Look at Paula doing a little Cure quote to start the day. That's your band, isn't it, Paula? That's a top 5 band for you, isn't it? I pay attention a little bit sometimes. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on a Football Friday.
Football Friday?
A little bit. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A lot going on this Friday. Small Conference Madness, World Baseball Classic underway in a big way. Ohtani just hit a grand salami.
No, that followed the double he had to start the game, right?
First 2 at bats, a double and a salami.
That works.
Got a trade deadline this afternoon. And we got football teams making moves. And not just cutting guys either. They are really getting the hang of this whole trade thing.
It almost like a baseball and hockey general and a basketball GM infiltrated the NFL because they're starting to act like the other leagues now. Finally, David, yes. I know that makes you very happy.
We're only a generation behind the times, but they're catching up, and I like it.
Well, it's young. I think you actually said that exactly right. We're a generation behind the times because what is the NFL full of now? a bunch of what GMs? Young GMs.
Mm-hmm.
Young GMs that may have not been football fans, may have paid attention to other things and looked and observed what other sports were doing. And this new group of general managers is not afraid to make a trade.
Nope. And you got a lot of desperation out there. Got a lot of teams that need to win. They've needed to win the last year or two, and they didn't get it done. So only imagine the desperation that they enter the 2026 season with. So some teams getting things done. Lots to kick around on this Friday. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Saw my daughter last night. We had the switch of caregivers. My mom drove up with the daughter. Mom and wife and daughter, they actually stayed in Tampa. They're downtown. Daughter has a gymnastics meet. What do you need school for? Let's schedule gymnastics competitions on Friday morning. But neither here nor there. Apparently in my house, gymnastics comes first. And the daughter is competing in a couple of hours at the convention center.
Now, you yelled at me yesterday off air, all right? And I didn't say a word. Not a word.
You didn't have to, David. Your eyes exhaled and look, said everything you needed to say. And I just said enough. I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear it. I feel the same way.
All I did was I did take a sigh and I did put my head down into, say, maybe resting my forehead on my right hand. Okay. But that was all I did.
That was enough.
Not say a word.
You called me your wife.
I felt like we are an old. This was one of those instances in which I do feel like our 20 years on air together is like a married couple, because I didn't make a sound. Didn't
you
say
made a sound.
Word. That's not.
It was
really
very
a sound.
audible. That sigh was very much audible.
Come on. We've got headphones on, for goodness sakes. Okay. Microphones turned all the way up. That wasn't a sound. I'm talking about like when you're sitting on the couch and somebody's standing in the kitchen. I did not make a sound that you could have heard from the kitchen, if you know what I mean. It was not like that. It was not that big. It was half that, though. It was. Wait a minute. Did he just say she's going to gymnastics and not school? All right. It was like that. And then I just put my head down. And that was it. Was all I did. And I got yelled at, chastised. And it made me feel like my soon-to-be 30-year marriage, in which I don't say a word and get chastised. And that drives me nuts. I want to earn my chastised, if you will, or getting
chastisement. I don't know. You got me right there, David. I don't know.
I don't know. I want to earn getting chastised. And that's not enough to get chastised. I'm sorry. But
you do you. You know what? I'll just let you think that it was okay. Well played. Well played.
Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Pat Kirwan will join us in a couple hours. Lots of NFL to talk about. The new NFL year starts next Wednesday. Hey, beginning Monday, teams can actually start talking to all the free agents, because none of that has happened yet. Hasn't happened this week. Didn't happen last week at the Combine. Come on now. They're all playing by the rules. I mean, you're not going to see any deals announced with contracts fully drawn up and signed like Wednesday afternoon next week. That's not going to happen.
Where's Dabo when you need him?
Right.
Because this just in. You know what? I know they have to hit the portal, David. But I guess in this case, every college every college player is essentially a pending free agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that meeting is going on today in Washington. President Trump calling all kinds of people there. And it was interesting, David. Darren Heitner, who's been on our show, and he's an agent. But Clay Travis now getting one of the spots. And Clay Travis is a big college football fan, and he did sports for many years before he's gone to the political realm of talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good at it. He was very good at it. And he still pays close attention and still has his website that does all kinds of sports things on it. But he posted something about going, and Darren Heitner just retweeted it and said, we're taking Clay Travis, but we don't have one athlete, nor do we have anybody who represents athletes in the room. And this is what you and I talked about a week ago.
Right.
Because Tebow has said no, he's unable to attend. He had a conflict of some sort.
Right. And Clay Travis is taking his place.
Right. And Tebow's not a current athlete anyhow, but there is not one current athlete, nor is there anyone who represents current athletes. And that was Heitner's point. He's like, I'm in the game. I know what's going on.
Right.
And I don't think he's wrong for suggesting someone like that should be there. I understand it's self-serving when he puts out a post like that. I get it. I'm not a moron. But I do agree with him.
Well, once again, they're not really interested in the athlete. They're not. They're not. They're interested in the system. They're trying to save the system. They're trying to protect the system and the sport. Okay. And everybody in the room thinks of coaches and athletic directors and conferences as the sport. And they think of the money involved, but they don't think of the athletes. They don't.
But the problem with that mentality is, and you know this, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, because we've only been talking about it for 4 or 5 years, and it's only come to fruition in the last 3. Every time the athlete takes on the system, the athlete wins. So much so that a Supreme Court, that one of the men on that court was handpicked by this president, went scorched earth on the NCAA. I mean, David, you pay attention to these things more than I do. I paid attention to this one because it involved what we do for a living in sports and college sports at that. But how many times, David, do you remember, because you're a political junkie, did a justice issue his paper on whatever, his decision on whatever, and another justice said, by the way, I know he issued it, but I'm going to issue a second one. I mean, 2 different Supreme Court justices went scorched earth on the NCAA. That doesn't happen in any case.
And Clarence Thomas, who historically does not say much and doesn't write a ton of opinions, was very vocal in the last case that went before the Supreme Court. And yeah, I mean, they all basically, the justices looked at the NCAA and said, you're going to lose, but if you keep coming back with this argument, we could somehow make it so that you lose worse. You need to figure something out. By the way, 9-0 against. Boom. And obviously, in the times that we're in, when can we get a 9-0 Supreme Court decision on anything? Seemingly on anything.
But they were 9-0 against the NCAA.
Right.
And so to me, that they're having this, and I understand your point, and you're right with your point, that they like the coaches and the ADs in the system, but the system is broken. And to not have any representation from athletes or agents of athletes seems to me like this isn't going to do much, because whatever they come up with looks like it'll lose again in a court case.
Well, I will say, though, it does take years to lose in court. I mean, at least to get to the Supreme Court. It does take years. And I could argue behind the scenes, hey, let's implement this system. This will slow this down. This will bring some order. And yeah, maybe by 2029, 2030, it gets thrown out, but it'll buy us 3 years. And right now, I'd love for 3 weeks. And this would buy us 3 years. So what do you say?
We shall see what comes out of today's meeting in Washington with a lot of people with ties to college football and the president. It'll take about an hour for things to leak out. But football to talk about on the college level with that, as David mentioned, we've got trades going on in the National Football League. We got players getting cut. We've got more trades. We've got talk of trades. Is Max Crosby going to get moved? And is Tampa going to be in on it? They keep being rumored to be one of the teams.
I don't know, though. The price seems pretty high. 2 1s plus? I don't know. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
At the Diamond District, we believe your I do deserves more.
More selection, more sparkle, more diamonds. You'll find the ring for your forever.
During our Diamond event, March 6th through 8th.
Explore every cut, color, and carat weight imaginable, from timeless classics to striking modern designs.
Choose the ring that says it all. March 6th through 8th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Joe, I thought about turning it on while the show was going on, and then I said, why? Is there something that you've seen that says Hendrickson is leaning towards the Bucks? I haven't. I mean, I think Hendrickson's going where he gets paid the most. And I've seen links.
Okay, Schefter came out. Was it Schefter or somebody else?
Okay.
And said, I think apparently lives in Ponte Vedra. Okay. Now, obviously, Jacksonville would be the closest franchise to him, but they don't think that is a good fit. Meanwhile, obviously, the Bucks need him.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but Dallas, I know, is apparently all in on him. So, and Jarrah overpays when Jarrah wants to spend money. And they ain't got no taxes there either.
Broke the rules last night, David.
You drove?
Yes, sir.
Good. Good deal. Good deal. You've been very obedient for 5 weeks. So good for you.
It's because of the central line that I have in my chest, Brian, or brown chicken. That's what they say. But they also said, which Paula, that's funny. They're like, it's not like we're following you around. But I've been laughing because there's a gentleman who also had a bone marrow transplant who's here. He's much older. And every time I see he and his wife leave, he gets behind the wheel of the car. He doesn't let her drive. Every time.
I could see him also saying, what's he in his 70s?
Oh, every bit of it.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's like at this stage looking at the doctors like.
Well, it's funny, Eve's paid attention to, there's a gentleman here, and I've not really met him yet, but his mom's taking care of him. Big dude. And he's always doing his own laundry, which we're technically not supposed to do. And I said to Eve, I go, really, of all the things you don't want me doing, laundry would probably be the one. I mean, I'm taking clean clothes out of a washer and putting them into a dryer, taking them out in full. I mean, of all of the things, that would seemingly be the safest. And she's like, yeah, probably for the mom, it's pick your battles. I'm like, yeah. Because she works, she still works, and there's a computer at the end of the hall. And she brings her laptop out, but she's there working all day. Damn right, Paul. Never have, never will.
Nope.
And I always take my cart back.
Yep. I was in a practically empty grocery store the other day, and the person in the 10 items that nobody to wait on was standing out in front and said, come here. And I said, nope. And they said, why? I said, I have 11 items. They said, come here. I said, absolutely not.
I did leave the hospital 2 days ago, and there was a woman right in front of a no tobacco sign ripping a lung dart. And I said, what are you doing? What do you mean? I said, you're smoking. Do you see that fucking sign? And she was, where am I supposed to go? I go, off the goddamn campus, you pig.
Right.
I snapped. My wife's like, stop. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stop. It was a cancer hospital. Couldn't believe it.
Could you go over there?
Don't you get me started.
I don't know about that. Empire doesn't say 10 to 16 items. And welcome back, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. The starting five and a little more than 15 minutes away. I know some people have already brought up, because we talked a touch of football. We touched upon really everything in the first segment. But so we touched upon the meeting that's going to take place this afternoon at the White House with President Trump and about 36 folks that are involved in sports, because not all of them were involved in college sports. I mean, Adam Silver's supposed to be there, obviously the commissioner of the NBA. But I'd say 30 of the 35, 36 folks that are there are intimately involved in college sports in one way or another, covering it, broadcasting it, in it. There are some that have mentioned that maybe the meeting should have been canceled because of obviously what's going on in the world and our role in it. Now, I don't think what I'm about to say is political. I understand that some of you may take it as such, and I would not draw any conclusions about my politics based on what I'm about to say. All right. But I don't have a problem with the meeting going on today because, well, there's more than just one item on the plate, right? If you're the
In
president.
fact, there's more than two, David. Usually
Right.
there are dozens, if not 50 or 60
So-
things that are being done.
And I understand, okay, now I must admit, I don't know if I would be as public, especially as this president likes to be, about things that don't seem so important right now. Okay, but this is important to him. He wants to tackle it. He's doing so. Is basically his last appointment of the week before he goes to wherever, Camp David, Mar-a-Lago, wherever
he
it is.
ain't going to Camp David. He's going to Mar-a-Lago.
Well, wherever. Okay. But so I understand that some of you are like, this is not a good look. My feeling is, hey, the job continues. The world continues, and it's, there's certainly a priority or two right now that's way ahead of everything else. But for what it's worth, I don't have a problem with this going on. Now, I might not hold the presser afterwards. Okay. I don't know if I would be as public afterwards because it does seem pretty inconsequential with what's going on right now. But I mean, he's the one who called this meeting. This is important to him. He played golf with Saban, Urban Meyer, and Governor DeSantis a couple of weeks ago. And then next thing you know, he announces, I want to do this. So for what it's worth, and if that's taken by some of you politically, okay. But I don't have a problem with the whole meeting going on. I really don't. I might downplay it publicly afterwards, but I don't have a problem with the meeting not being canceled because, let's face it, you would be canceling it because of certain things going on. And do any of us know when those certain things are no longer going to be going on? So how many things are we going to cancel for how long would be my rhetorical question to you. But that's all. That's all. Everything's, obviously polarizing president. Everybody's got an opinion on everything he says or does. And I get that. Believe me. Believe me. But I don't know.
And by believe him, he means from 10:01 until he goes to bed every night.
But I have no problem with, there being other things on the calendar that the president and others have to attend to, even though there's a war going on. There's still other things that should be addressed. He wants to address this. It's part of being the president. You get to say, no, this is important to me. Okay. All right. We'll see how it goes.
And I would say this, and I don't know, this doesn't apply to all of you listening, but I've heard from a lot of people over the past couple of years that thought Congress should do something to help, stop, contain, change what's going on in collegiate athletics.
There's a lot of people in that room, Mark, who have publicly called for Congress to get involved. I believe Saban at one point did. I know Sankey at one point has. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of people in that room who have called for it to be a political issue.
So now it is. And it's not Congress doing it, it's the president doing it. What will happen from it? I have no idea. Is he going to issue an executive order on college sports?
Oh, boy.
Do I think that's a little ridiculous? I do. But I guess I would ask you this, not just you, David, but our audience. If all of a sudden Monday there was an executive order that put some sort of parameters around the spending in college football and the transfer portal, would you be okay with it? Or do you like status quo? Because one of the things it seems that none of the listeners of our show like right now is the current status quo of college sports. I play golf. I've played at the same club now for about 10 years. There's not one guy that I play golf with that likes college sports as much now as they did before these new rules were implemented. Now, the irony to me is everybody's still watching.
I was going to say, we follow the ratings closely. We talk about it a lot. I get, Mark, they don't feel as warm and fuzzy inside. I get it. All right. But, I mean, will the Michigan Wolverine fan in 2026, how differently will they feel if their team makes a run to the Final Four and has a chance to cut down the nets versus how they felt about the 2013 team that played for the title, about the Fab Five who went back to back? I mean, I'm being serious.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I mean, no, how different will your feeling be even versus 2013? Forget the Fab Five was a phenomenon. Let's just go 2013, the Trey Burke, team that played for it all. I mean, how different do you feel 13 years later, not even a full generation? You going to feel any different that Monday? If you're playing
and if you
for
win
it all?
the game on Monday, how are you going to feel on Tuesday? You're not going to have that big block M on your chest or on your head, puffing it out, walking around? Okay. Of course not.
So it was my big concern when I was pounding the table 5 years ago for what we have now. I was worried that it's an intangible. It's a tangible thing, but it's an intangible, your reaction to it. That if you still don't have the warm and fuzzies towards your college team and the sport that they play, if college sports loses that, I have no idea how they could ever get it back. But so far, they haven't lost that.
Well, I would argue that they've lost a lot of the warm and fuzzy. I don't think the general public feels the same. I mean, David, they complain to me constantly, but they all still watch their team.
Right.
And as long as their team's winning, whatever team that is. I mean, you brought up Michigan. Hell, I'll say Notre Dame. Do you think the Notre Dame fan doesn't like what's going on right now? Now, they don't in basketball, but in football, they've been as relevant in the last couple of years as they were in the last 20, and it's not like they weren't relevant then. The starting five, that's next.
The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So do we want to do a poll question around that? Do you think anything substantial will happen from President Trump's meeting with 30 different sports leaders? Or, I mean, do we want to go there? Because outside of that, I don't have a poll question right now. I could find one, but
Yeah.
I mean, outside of what's your level in the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't think anybody will care until the very end if the U.S. is in it.
I'm not sure, Johnny. I was leaning that way initially, but this is an important thing to him. I don't think that has anything to do with, because I will tell you, Pius, like in Southwest Florida, the Michigan State basketball parties are still as big as they were. That hasn't changed. I'm guessing the Kentucky ones are that way, but we watch more at home, period. But I mean, I know that, we still have a group at our club that goes and watches football every Sunday. He leans whatever way Nick Saban tells him to lean, Paula, to be brutally honest. He's going to do what Saban and Urban want. Do you think there's a poll question here or no?
I do.
Okay. How would you like it? You're better at phrasing these to be a little more, I don't know what PC, but you know what I mean.
Do you think anything substantive
Okay. You want to spell substantive for me? Because I'm not going to spend an hour trying to do it.
SUBSTANTITIVE. Substant. No, wait. Substant. I think that was it.
AITIVE.
Gotcha. Okay. I said I instead of A. All right.
No, you're fine. You were a lot closer than I would have been.
Substantive.
Will come from President Trump's college sports meeting today.
Yeah.
And just a simple yes or no, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say significant instead of substantive.
I like significant. Big OC, I'm not. I'm merely trying to type them correctly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. We do have a poll question up, and it's a little more hard-hitting than our poll questions have been this week. I mean, what do we have?
I mean, we did potato chips and cheese doodles, for crying out loud.
Right.
And now we've got the president in a poll question, which it may be a first for us.
No. Really? Huh. I have to think about that. And again, how often do the presidents get involved in sports? So
exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
So do you think anything significant will come from the president's college sports meeting today? Yes or no? It's that simple. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. If you're not a subscriber to X, well, then you can text us on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. That also allows you to say, and here's why. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN, 1-866-9-PELICAN, statewide, commercial or residential, Pelican Roofing of Florida.
Can I ask a question before we do the starting five?
Of course, it's your segment.
What contribution do you think Tiger Woods is going to give today in that meeting?
I have none.
I mean, I get it. It's Tiger Woods. I mean, you know, in theory, what room isn't better off with him in it? I guess, but I mean, what is he going to say?
David, I don't know. I will say the funniest thing I'd seen, and I'd actually sent you the article. I believe it was Stuart Mandel.
Yes.
In The Athletic. He did a parody of the meeting.
Spectacular.
Of what people were going to say and this, that, and the other. And he basically mocks everybody in the room. Everybody. Nick, Urban, and he goes back and forth with what people are going to say. And then he finally gets to Tiger, who Tiger says, I don't really know why I'm here. And Tiger's comments were the most intelligent and smartest. And it was basically his economics background from Stanford. And he gives these long, very substantive answers. And it was hilarious. Every part of that was one of the best pieces he's done in a long time. And it was a total tongue-in-cheek parody article. But man, was it funny.
We could throw one other poll question up there. Which of our poll questions this week have you liked the most? The one on potato chips, the one on cheese doodles, and the one on the the president's college football meeting.
It's a dadgum good point.
And we know chips or cheese doodles will win, right?
I will say early voting, lots of votes on this one, right off the hop.
Okay, well, good. We like lots of voting. Time now for
the starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST. Business, sports, and tourism. You know, we'll begin with the NHL. The trade deadline is 3 o'clock today. Caps sent long-time defenseman John Carlson to Anaheim for a first and third round pick. Caps are just 4 points out of a playoff spot. They've traded away 2 of their most veteran players in the last 2 days. Sabres have made a bunch of moves. The guy at St. Louis turned down the trade to Buffalo. He could veto it, and he did. So they went and got Sam Carrick from the Rangers for a couple of draft picks. They also acquired 2 defensemen from Winnipeg. Okay. Logan Stanley and Luke Shen gave up 2 prospects and 2 draft picks. So the Sabres have given up their second, third, fourth, and sixth round picks in this year's draft and a couple prospects to acquire 3 veterans. They're all in to make the playoffs, as they should be, because they're on a roll. Meanwhile, the Lightning and Panthers are going the other way. Tampa Bay's lost 4 in a row. Winnipeg beat them 4-1. Yikes. Tampa now tied with Buffalo atop the division, although Tampa's played 2 less games. Sabres beat the Penguins 5-1. Moulton, by the way, with a vicious slash. He's probably going to get suspended.
Yeah, he is. He should. He should. Slash to the head.
Yeah. Panthers
or face,
have lost,
whatever you want to call it.
Panthers have lost 4 in a row. Columbus doubled them up 4-2. The Blue Jackets just a point behind the Bruins, who went to Nashville and got doubled up 6-3. You know, the Preds are only 3 points out of a playoff spot. Utah is the first wild card out west. They shut out Philly 3-0. And Ottawa's just 4 points back of the Bruins. They beat Calgary 4-1. Oh, yeah, the Rangers and Leafs both held a bunch of guys out of the game. Rangers won their first home game in regulation since around Thanksgiving.
That's not made up.
Nope.
They had not won a game in regulation at home since November of 2025.
Yes. And I think
about that.
And I think it was 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't want to be the one that had to do that to you.
And those might be the most expensive tickets in hockey too. Boy, if those fans.
Yeah, probably the least.
True. College hoops. Third-ranked Michigan held off Iowa, but they didn't cover. System play went 1-0. Michigan 71-68. And a weird one in East Lansing. Rutgers led at the half. Michigan State led by 15 with 2 minutes to go, and then had to hold off the Scarlet Knights 91-87. By the way, Michigan State to wrap up the Big Ten regular season on Sunday in Ann Arbor. Congratulations to the Bulls of South Florida. What a run they're on. Their winning streak just as long as the Gators, by the way. They went to Memphis and beat the Tigers 96-89. They are the regular season American champions for the second time in 3 years.
David, you know how the committee has a sense of humor. Would love to see a way that the Gators are the 2 and South Florida would be the 7, right? And get them in the second. You know what I'm saying,
right? What's more real? I think there's a chance for a Florida UCF second round matchup, because UCF could be a 7 or a 10,
right?
And then in theory play Florida. So
right, because USF is picked to be like a 12, are they not?
Right, that supposedly they're not getting any at-large consideration, so they'd be, one of the best automatic qualifiers. But imagine, by the way, you're Nebraska, okay, and you make the tournament and you're a 5 seed, and you could see South Florida, and if they continue to win, you could see the Bulls and like a 15-game winning streak in your 5-12 game, and you're looking for your first ever tournament win. By the way, noteworthy ASUN women's tournament. FGCU's been in the conference for 15 years. They had appeared in 14 consecutive finals. They got beat in the quarters yesterday by Stetson. Stetson, Austin P, Jacksonville, Central Arkansas, the semis on the women's side, and the ASUN, the men's side, resumes today in the quarters. And Miami of Ohio looks to complete the 31-0 regular season. Don't you feel tonight's it? If they win, they're in. They're at Ohio. 30-0. 9 games in the NBA. We'll bring some of them to you. The Heat and Brooklyn, their 10th straight loss, 126-110. Tyler Hero with 25, Bam with 21. Man, Orlando's not looking good, but they did beat Dallas 115-114 on a Wendell Carter dunk with a second to play. Cooper Flagg returned for the Mavs. The Spurs led throughout. Beat Detroit and San Antonio 121-106. How about Wembanyama? 38, 16, with 5 blocks.
And the other thing about him, he only has one gear. That's what I like about what he plays hard. He doesn't know how to lay down, if you know what I mean.
Thank goodness.
Yes,
Thank
I
goodness.
agree.
Need the next generation to get rid of this load management crap. Golden State shorthanded, went to Houston, beat the Rockets in overtime, 115-113. Denver got 28 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists from you-know-who. LeBron became, another all-time NBA record. He now has made more field goals than anyone else. He passed Kareem, but Denver beat the Lakers 120-113. And give it up for the T-Wolves. Got off to a slow start this year. They're up to the 3 seed out west. They beat Toronto 115-107. NFL, Bills acquired DJ Moore from the Bears. They gave up 2nd and 5th round picks in this year's draft to do it. But they then guaranteed this year, next year, and 15 of the $25 million that he's owed in 2028. So DJ Moore is going to make 23 and change, 24 and change, and $25 million over the next 3 years. He's 29 years old next month. Joe Brady was his offensive coordinator in Carolina, however, when DJ Moore had his best years. Bears also announced they're going to release Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker, and save $15 million. Saints and Cam Jordan are going for divorce. This came out of nowhere. He's 36-year-old, is going to become a free agent, the Hall of Famer to be with 132 sacks. Saints are going to take a nearly $19 million cap hit to say goodbye to their all-time sack leader. Mark, I know he's 36. He had 10.5 sacks last year. Cam Jordan is a man. Okay, and I don't think I'd give him more than a 1-year contract, but I have no problem paying Cam Jordan the going rate for 2026. No problem at all.
You're right, David. It's just a case with that. All it takes is one team to give that second year.
I got it.
And desperate teams will do that. But I like where you're at.
Houston re-signed offensive tackle Trent Brown, 1 year, $7 million. And they gave Daniel Hunter a 1-year, fully guaranteed $40 million extension. I think he's under contract now for the next 2 years. World Baseball Classic underway in a big way today with 8 games. 8 o'clock tonight on Big Fox, USA and Brazil. Right now, it's Japan and Taiwan. And I think it's 14-0 Japan in the 5th.
No, this ain't Little League.
Ohtani with a double, a grand slam, and a single his first 3 at-bats. If you're interested, the game's on FS1. Golf, Arnold Palmer Invitational. Daniel Berger goes low at Bay Hill, 9 under. He's got a 3-shot lead.
That's a good golf course. That's impressive.
3-shot lead over Morikawa and Oberg. Schauffele is 4 under. Scheffler's 2 under. Spieth and Rory even. Justin Thomas working his way back from injury and surgery. Shot a 7 over 79. LIV's in Hong Kong. Carlos Ortiz with a 2-shot lead. Rahm is 6 back. Bryson DeChambeau was supposed to be at the president's meeting. He's in Hong Kong, and he shot even par. So needless to say, he won't be with President Trump and 35 others today at the White House. Meeting, I believe, scheduled for 4 o'clock. Clay Travis taking the place of Tim Tebow, who cannot attend. It's the focus of our poll question. Do you think anything significant is going to come out of this meeting? And it doesn't have to come at 5:30. You know what we're asking when we say significant. Like they meet and who knows, Tuesday of next week there's an executive order, or they meet and all of a sudden Charlie Baker and the NCAA next week come up with a crazy idea to do something. So give it a couple weeks, but do you think something significant will come out of the meeting later today with President Trump and 35 others about the future of college sports? And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting five. 5 big stories you need to know, courtesy of Lee County, Florida, building a better community. Come on, let's say it together now. Through BST.
BST. Sorry.
Business, sports, and tourism. Bologna, salami, turkey, beautiful spring training. Okay. You know,
Burritos. So
whatever. Right.
And tostadas. Whatever you want it to be.
Right.
A couple of texts quickly as we get to the top of the hour break, David. Maybe the president brought Tiger in to talk about his golf swing, and someone took you on personally and said, David, what room is better, not better having Tigers in it? I'll take Perkins for 800. Miller and Moulton.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Michael, he can play in all those games because he doesn't play defense. It rained here yesterday also. I don't know if Southwest Florida got any. And I believe it was all late in the day, which was good. I don't know if he rests on defense, Stovall. He's not, he's a below average defender. I don't think he rests. I actually think he plays hard. He's not a top 15 of all time. You're high, Michael. Stop it. Stop it. Top 50? I'll give you that. Top 15? No.
Who?
Jokic. I think he's a top 50 of all time player. I don't think he's a top 15 player. Did see a guy yesterday. I was walking to get my labs done. Big dude. Had the kind of one leg push, walker, had his knee up. Had the purple button down Lakers shirt on and gold high tops. And he was our age. He was in his 50s. This was a Laker fan from back in the day.
Right.
Well, Tim, I understand and we agree. I just, when we make a question like this, it's bound to happen. It is. I agree he's a great player, but great player to top 15 all time is a huge stretch. And I love Michael's passion, but he's a young man. And this is, I don't know if David saw the post, but the Hard Rock put out like the top 10 Miami athletes of all time. It's the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it is.
It was done by a 25-year-old kid, it looked like.
Totally.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday, the first such one of March. Hope you've had a good week and hope we can end it well together. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, there's a meeting late this afternoon at the White House. The president, about 3 dozen other invitees to talk about the future of college athletics. And we ask you simply, do you think anything significant is going to come from it? Now, I don't think it has to come from it at 5:30 today. I don't think it has to come from it at Tuesday. But are we going to look back 2 weeks, 2 months, and realize, well, the genesis of this was that Friday, March 6th, 4 o'clock meeting at the White House? Do you think anything significant is going to come from this meeting, or is this for show?
And maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I just have wishful thinking. Maybe I'm way off base here. But I actually think something will come of it. And my reason why is that I do think the people that are in the president's ear, it's important to them. The fact that he was out playing golf, and Trump has said it, a lot gets done on the golf course, and it has for generations. Don't be naive about that. He had Urban Meyer and Nick Saban in his ear for 5 hours on a golf course. 5 hours. And all of a sudden, from that 18 holes, and Governor DeSantis was the fourth, he was there mostly to pick up the beers and pay the beverage cart girl. There's a meeting with 35 people, and the president of the NCAA is going to be there. I do think something comes out of this. I think this is important to Nick. I think it's important to Urban. And the president seems to like those two kind of a lot. So then it becomes important to him. And while the other things in the world are going on, this can offer a distraction to that and getting something done that a lot of people think should be done.
Here's what I don't understand. I think there's a lot of things the NCAA can do that can't be overturned in court. I mean, the NFL has a rule: you must be 3 years removed from high school to be eligible for our draft. Still holds up. It still holds up. Okay. Despite our change in philosophy towards athletes and when they're ready to do certain things. And I mean, the NFL, that's their rule. You're not eligible to play in our league and be drafted until you're 3 years removed from high school. Yeah, I know the whole, a certain age to be drafted and go to war, and a certain age to do. I don't know what to tell you. Roger Goodell's like, this is our rule. It's been our rule. It's been challenged. We win. Now, I have to admit, I'd love for somebody to challenge it today.
I do think they get some help too, because they have a union who supports that rule.
Okay.
If the NFLPA came out and said, I think this rule's bad, which I don't think they ever would, that would put more pressure on the NFL. But you're right. You're right in what you're saying.
Tell me the college athletics, whether it's Charlie Baker and the NCAA, or I don't know, it's Petitti and Sankey and all the conference commissioners agree that universally these are going to be our eligibility rules. And tell me they can't come out at some point this spring or summer and say everybody gets 5 years. Tell me they can't say, okay, go back to, remember, freshmen couldn't play. Then you had to sit out a year when you transferred. Okay. By the way, what the courts have upheld, Mark, is the money. They've upheld the money. They said, these guys are not amateurs. The scholarship ain't going to cut it. Okay. And what the court has then upheld is that can't put a limit on how much money they make. But we could set some rules, can't we? I mean, seriously, why can't the NCAA next week come out and go, every college athlete gets 5 years? All right. And that's it, by the way. If you're healthy and you play all 5, great. If you transfer, we'll work on that down the road. But you get 5 years. And if you can play all 5, good for you. Because there was a day 2 generations ago when you could only play 3. So congratulations being born in the time that you've been born in. Embrace it, enjoy it, make as much as you can. Good luck.
Now,
okay?
David, the only thing I would say there, and I would love it, they've lost in court with the JUCO kids.
Well, they've lost in terms of that they've always counted a JUCO year equivalent to a Division I year. But okay, now what you do is you come out and you just say you get 5. Okay, and underneath you're saying it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you start. Doesn't matter where you go. Don't care. JUCO, D3, D2, don't care. You get 5 years. You get to play sports for 5 years after high school, in college, any level of college, or at least any level. Because what could happen is a lawyer goes, you can't say JUCO, you don't oversee JUCO. You oversee D3, D2, D1. So maybe, Mark, that's all that the NCAA could do. Maybe they're going to have to go to the Supreme Court and fight over a JUCO year. Is that equivalent to an NCAA year? Okay, but the NCAA oversees 1, 2, and 3. Can't they come out and say, you get 5? Can't they come out and say, everybody gets a free transfer?
Yes.
After that, you got to sit out a year. Okay, why can't they? That's our rules. That's our rules. We're putting them in place Wednesday. Take us to court. And by the way, we're going to court. All right? We're going all the way.
Now, I will say, David, here's where I think they would have to give a concession or two to the athlete. Let's just say they implement the 2 rules you talked about next week. I'm all for it. But if they're going to put that transfer rule on there, then what about at least giving the athlete something? If you sign with the school out of high school, you get a guaranteed 2 years. Something so the gray shirts of the past don't happen. Something that says, yes, we're putting rules in that more than likely will benefit the schools, but we're putting a couple of rules in that are going to help the athlete. And if the school's going to make a commitment to this kid, then they've got to honor said commitment.
Well, but the thing is, if we're giving every kid a free transfer, you could make them sign a 3-year contract, but we're allowing them to get up and leave, no questions asked one time. The 3-year contract's pretty much null and void. I know what you're trying to do, and I applaud it. By the way, that's the other thing. You can sign multi-year deals. Okay.
I guess that's all I would say is that you can sign multi-year deals and both ends have to hold up because, for instance, it's like,
okay, so I don't know. So you're saying if I signed a 2-year deal with you,
yeah,
and a year in, I want to transfer. I want to take so I can't.
You've got a contract.
Well, but then I thought I get a free transfer.
Then sign a 1-year deal.
Gotcha.
You want to leave afterward. Like Underwood, the kid at Michigan. By all accounts, he had signed a 3-year deal with Michigan, and then they're talking about him transferring after this year. Now, I know there's a new coach and all of those things, but it's like, wait a minute here. Can't have it both ways as the athlete to me.
Okay.
And I don't think you can have it both ways for the school.
By the way, I think every athlete gets a free transfer. I also think you get a free transfer if your head coach leaves.
And there'll be more of that. I mean, this year is not the first time we're going to have this many coaches fired. In the new world of college athletics, there's going to be a bloodletting every year at the end of the season.
So to me, if you go a year and you transfer and then you're 2 years somewhere and then all of a sudden they fire that coach, then I think if you want, you get a free transfer, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to sit out a year. If they fire your coach, I say you get a free transfer, which, by the way, I think is giving the athletes a lot. Like you said, we got to give the athletes something. I'm giving them 5 years of eligibility in all sports. I think that's a pretty good give. 5 years of eligibility. You get to play 5, no questions asked, by the way. You're healthy as hell. You're one of the fortunate ones. You picked the right school, by the way. 5 years. I think that's a pretty good gift I'm giving. In 24 sports? Now, that could cause scholarship problems with certain coaches, but, I think it's a pretty good gift. I'm willing to do it for all sports. I'm sure they probably only want to do it for football and basketball, but I think legally that would be a nightmare. I'm not limiting, by the way, how much money the athlete can make. I mean, I don't know what Darren Heitner's problem is going to be with me, if you know what I mean. I'm giving all his clients 5 years
to earn as much money as is humanly possible.
Make as much money as you can get them, Darren. And I'm giving them a free transfer. And I'm giving them a free transfer if the coach leaves or gets fired. I don't know. I think I'm being pretty good to the athlete. But it also, now we start to get some law and order, if you will. We get some rules. I'm fine with your multi-year contracts, by the way. Because in theory, Mark, what is it, in pro sports? If you don't sign a one-year deal, you want the security. So you sign a multi-year deal. Well, but then, okay, that means you can't hit free agency. Yeah, okay, I'm giving up free agency for security. Fine. Michigan State wants to sign you for 3 years and you're willing to commit, then you got to give them 3.
Yeah. And if you sign the wrong guy, well, then it's on you at the university. I'm sorry. You committed to this guy for 3 years. You can't get rid of him. It's just the same way you sign a guy. Obviously you can cut a guy in the NFL, but you still hits your cap.
Now, if during those 3 years the coach leaves or gets fired, does the contract become null and void? Because I say it does.
Ooh.
Come on now.
Boy, I don't know.
You don't really think they're signing with the schools, do you?
No, I don't. But that's a tough one for me.
Okay. Think about it.
That's a tough one. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'd have to think about that for a little bit.
Okay.
Miller and Moulton, fixing college athletics.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
At the Diamond District, we believe your I do deserves more.
More selection, more sparkle, more diamonds. You'll find the ring for your forever.
During our diamond event, March 6th through 8th.
Explore every cut, color, and carat weight imaginable, from timeless classics to striking modern designs.
Choose the ring that says it all. March 6th through 8th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't think so, DC. Coach leaves to go from, Lane leaves. What's the difference between Lane leaving for LSU and Lane getting fired from Ole Miss? I don't think so. No, but what David's point is, DC, is that players sign with the coach, not with the school. And that's very accurate. I think there are 5% of the kids out there that woke up, were born and said, I'm going to Iowa. I think the majority of them are going somewhere because of the coach. No, I will not. I will probably do some multi-view on my TV because this room is not very big and I sit about 6 feet from the television, because that's about, the room's maybe 12 feet wide. I'm with David there. I disagree with you, DC. I understand your point. We'll just agree to disagree. I wouldn't be willing to bet anything on World Baseball Classic. I don't care. I don't even know if I'll watch the finals. Got to be honest with you. Maybe if it's U.S. Japan, maybe because I like watching Ohtani. Wrong time of year for me. No, I agree with you, DC, but I don't think, to me, there's not a difference between if a coach is fired and if a coach leaves. Now, one of the interesting things that I saw someone say is that you can't transfer within a conference. That's a fascinating rule. Don't know if I like it, but it was an interesting thought given by somebody. I think it might have been Clay Travis.
Lane is fired. He hasn't coached yet.
No, you're jumping in the middle. What we're having a conversation. He says that if a coach leaves, you shouldn't be able to get another transfer. And I said there's no difference between Lane leaving for LSU and Lane if Lane would have got fired. He and I just are disagreeing.
Oh yeah, no, there's no difference. He ain't there. I went there because he was the coach. He ain't the coach anymore. I get to leave. No, see, DC, I think your coach leaves or gets fired. It's a free transfer.
And he doesn't. DC disagrees with us. That's all we've been talking about.
Gotcha.
He just disagrees with that concept. He's like, you get one free transfer. That's it. Period. End of sentence.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Starting to get a little hot and heavy. Starting to get a debate. All about the meeting. It's going to take place in about 8.5 hours at the White House. Future college athletics. Our poll question. Think anything significant is going to come out of this meeting? Now, I don't mean at 5:30. I don't even necessarily mean by Tuesday of next week. I just, anything. 80, 90 days from now, all of a sudden the NCAA announces, here's our new rules going forward. And we realize that it all goes back to the meeting.
Yeah, and I would say probably I actually think if something happens, it's within 30 days. I don't think it would stretch out that long, but I hear what you're saying. And I don't know if it's getting hot and heavy. There was just what I find interesting, David, is that, you got up for a second and you have that right. It is a commercial break after all. But I was chatting with someone in the chat room during the break, which you always can do, by the way. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, YouTube.com/Miller and Moulton. Great way to catch the show every hour, every minute of the show. And when our network breaks, our sponsors are done, we spend the time talking to you. You have a question, we answer it. And DC, who's here almost every day, just simply disagrees with you and I about a free transfer if the coach leaves. He thinks if he's fired, he should be. It's, we're regardless. Right. What I think is important about our little discussion is it does show you, if you have a room of 35 people, something as simple as what we're saying, you get one transfer. Well, we've already had a conflict between one person and us who just disagrees with what we said. It wasn't hot and heavy. It's simply he thinks this, we think that. That's going to be the difficulty to me of getting something done. I don't know how you're going to get all 35 people in this room to agree. Do you just need a majority? How is this? Or at the end of the day, is what Urban and Nick, what Trump's going to push through? I don't know. But one of the problems I do have with this meeting, and we've talked about it all week, is that there's no representation for the players in this room. None whatsoever.
Nope. Not a current athlete, not a current agent, not a current lawyer agent. Nope. So once again, they're not really interested in fixing the whole system. They're just interested in their part of the system.
Texter on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line says basically colleges are public money and they're going to have to play by other rules. Most of them are public money. You're right. There are a few private ones. So, another one kind of agrees with what we've talked about for years, David, is that the problem seems to me is that the NCAA doesn't have a backbone to enforce everything. If these courts are just going to grant kids extra years, what's the point? And then someone bringing up the bad contracts, if you will. So you don't want to have the option of firing the coach to get out of a bunch of bad player contracts. I don't ever think that's going to be the case. The bad player contracts are getting the coach fired because the team's not any good. I mean, that's wins and losses are all that matters. And then finally, we don't hold coaches to contracts. We wish, but you better start holding players to them. You're right. Coaches are not held to contracts. They do have buyouts, though. And that's what we're seeing now with Cincinnati suing their former quarterback
for $1 million
because he transferred to Texas Tech.
By the way, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to quickly go in a different direction. So,
well, I was ready to too, but I don't know if you're ready for the direction I'm going in.
Probably not. But you know what? Let's just go with it because I can hold mine to the next segment. So what
Perfect,
direction?
Because I don't need that much time, David. Okay. And I sure as hell know you don't want me to have much time with this subject.
Uh-oh. What is it?
But two great 20th century philosophers both used this phrase. One coined it, the other given credit for the popularization of it. I'm, of course, talking about Ice-T and Big Daddy Kane, who said pimping ain't easy. And apparently, well, it's still out there because did you catch the story at Cal State with their basketball team?
Is this Bakersfield?
Yes.
Unbelievable. So the coach is a pimp.
The coach is a pimp. Rod Barnes, head coach at Cal State Bakersfield.
Oh, man.
A coach and a former player, Kevin Mays, who now faces 11 charges, some of them very horrible, a lot of child pornography images and things of that, and also human trafficking, where they were pimping out women. This is a coach at a college basketball team.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Story broke like yesterday, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tell me about your coach. Oh, he's a pimp. No, seriously. No, he's a pimp.
The allegations include pimping. I mean, just I'll try to do this sentence without stopping. Those allegations include pimping, possession of automatic firearms, and possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell.
Wait, so the pimping wasn't enough? He was also trying to sell meth?
Well,
wow.
Had to keep the girls up, apparently. I don't know, David.
How did this guy have time to draw up how to break the press?
Both the coach and the athletic director have left their positions at Cal State Bakersfield.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Apparently, the allegations don't involve a student, according to school spokesperson Jennifer Self. Here's David. Let me just stop there, because all of these allegations, if true, are horrible. Right. If someone's doing this to women, they're a terrible person. I think we all can agree upon that.
Absolutely.
But David, if you're the president of Cal State Bakersfield, don't you have to go to a microphone and make these statements yourself? Can you allow school spokesperson Jennifer Self to have to take the bullet for the school president at this one?
No, because you got to be disgusted, shocked, appalled, all right, embarrassed. You got to you can't release a statement.
Thank you.
No. Well, what did the school have to say? Well, they released a statement. They released a statement. Their coach is a pimp who's selling meth. And now, granted, it's some uncomfortable questions that you're going to get. So you mean to tell me nobody at the school noticed anything? Nothing at all, huh? At no point in time did anybody lodge a complaint?
And I'm sorry, I said Kumo D. That was wrong. It's Big Daddy Kane that had the song Pimpin' Ain't Easy. I got my 80s rap artist confused there, and I apologize to Big Daddy Kane, to be perfectly honest. Big Daddy Kane's awesome. Probably going to listen to some Big Daddy Kane during the break. But anytime I can go 80s rappers, I'm pretty happy.
Can I be very inappropriate here?
Why not? I think I started it.
Was Bakerfield any good this year?
No, you know what's funny? The entire article doesn't mention the team's record.
I was going to say, is the team still alive in a conference tournament? Okay.
By the way, for all the teams throughout history that have basically just suspended a season, don't you immediately have to suspend the team for the season? I know it's not all the athletes, but isn't it over at that point?
Well, for the rest of this year, maybe. But I mean, although, by the way, they're the Road Runners. They're the Road Runners.
So was the coach, apparently across state lines.
They were 8-23, and
well,
I think
of course they were.
So I think they're heading to their conference tournament. The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Just want to let you know I was listening to a little I Get the Job Done by Big Daddy Kane there during that commercial break.
Just got a text from someone that said, my daughter was in the car. I had to turn the radio down. That might be the most shocking segment in all the years I've listened to you guys.
I apologize. Tell him it's my fault. I'll take the blame for that.
No, he's not yelling. He's just going, it just caught me off guard. My coach is a pimp and a drug dealer.
Right.
Pius, I'm seeing different things. I'm seeing they lost their last regular season game, and then the Big West tournament's going to start, and they're in it. Or was yesterday it? Because I thought I saw them scheduled for another game. Oh, you said last in Big West. Got it. Yeah. By the way, huge opportunity for the FGCU women yesterday. The game before theirs was the 1-8 game, and the 8 beat the 1.
What were they going into it?
They were in the 4-5 game.
Gotcha. Did you see, was it Lehigh half-court shot to win?
And Lehigh was
no, they were the two. Right. They were the two playing whatever it was they were playing. But
a 10. A 10.
Yeah, I knew it was a double digit.
Yeah. To avoid overtime.
Got to be honest. I'm already noticing a difference here at Caregivers. I've already had an English muffin by now if I had my wife. So went to this Cuban bakery. Oh God, La Segunda or something like that. I don't know. Anyhow, they're doing a collaboration with Byrne Steakhouse because it's this bakery's like 100 years old, and Byrne's 70 this year. So it's this shaved ribeye sandwich on Cuban bread. We went 2 days ago. Bakery's open till 3. Went at 2:00. Sign on the door. If you're coming here for the anniversary sandwich, we're sold out. We'll have more tomorrow. We got there at 10:50 yesterday. There was a line. Got the sandwich. You only can get one per customer. So Eve had to stand behind me and order separately so we could both get one. By the time we left, the line was out the door to the street. And I'm talking 11, by 11:15, the line is out the door to the street. It's just a counter place, you just go to the no inside seating. Unbelievable how many people. And I heard one guy, because I was waiting outside because I'm not supposed to be around a lot of people. So I'm listening to people in line. I'm on the side of the building in the shade. And the guy's like, it's usually to the door. I think this anniversary has it a little further, because the other sandwich, it was worth every cent. It was amazing. Top 10 sandwich of all time.
Oh, nice.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, there's a big meeting going on at 4 o'clock today at the White House. President, about 36 folks involved in sports in one way or another. They're going to meet, talk about the future of college sports. We ask you, is anything significant going to come from this meeting? We mean ever, not necessarily today, but just take it however you want. Yes or no. About 60% of you are going no. Nothing. I don't know. Call me naive. I think they're going to implement something that comes from this meeting. Whether it gets overturned in court or what have you, we'll see. But I think they're going to try to do something.
I do too. And I'm with you. Maybe I'm naive, but I think this is important to people close to the president. Therefore, it's important to the president. Maybe I'm nuts.
Yeah. And goodness knows, we've been accused of a lot more. So there's two things that I just want to throw out there. Because, it is March. Therefore, we have madness. Hey, did you hear the stat about Michigan last night when they held on against Iowa in Iowa?
Number of coaches arrested in the last year?
It's not just come on now.
I'm sorry.
Come on now.
Well,
come on now.
I'm sorry. That was low hanging fruit. I apologize.
That was going beyond that. You climbed a little bit up a branch.
Another one got in trouble the other day. There's been three. This is unbelievable. Sorry, it's
so. The Michigan men's last night, by winning at Iowa, became the first Big Ten men's basketball team to go undefeated on the road since
Indiana
in 76. Yep. Yeah. And obviously that team went undefeated home, away, neutral. Right. So that's number one. And of course, with Miami Indiana being the last team to complete a perfect season. And we still have an undefeated team in Division I men's college basketball. I mean, UConn's undefeated on the women's side, but they've done that like 8 times. Miami of Ohio is 30-0. They try to complete the undefeated regular season tonight in Athens, right? Isn't that where
Athens, Ohio? You are correct.
Right. Mark, do you know when's the last time Miami of Ohio has won in Athens? And remember, they play every year. Last time, 2011. They've lost 14 consecutive games in Athens. And so here's the best team they've had since Wally Zerbiak. All right. And here they are, 30-0. And they got to go to a place which is their graveyard.
And they've struggled is the wrong word, but they have been pressured a lot here in the last couple of weeks. I mean,
oh yeah,
they are definitely two things. One, they're clearly feeling the pressure of trying to complete this undefeated season, and they're getting everyone's best game.
yes, they are.
Everyone's best game.
So do you lay the 5.5? Okay. This Ohio team, by the way, 500, 15-15.
I like our system play with this tonight, David.
I love the 5.5 tonight, don't you?
Absolutely.
But I don't want them to lose.
I'm right there with you.
Like,
give me a buzzer beater to win, whatever it takes, David.
Right.
I'm right there with you. I want this Miami of Ohio team to go undefeated so badly.
Because if they win tonight, they're in. They can lose in the conference tournament, particularly if they lose to Akron. I mean, there's a lot of people in the sport who think that Akron's a better team. Okay, and there are certain net systems that have them as the better team. Which you go, how could that be? Yeah, well, it's college basketball.
And they've played like one of the worst schedules in all of college basketball.
Although, you know what? Give it up to a reporter, and I wish I had the reporter's name off the tip of my tongue right now. He did a Freedom of Information Act. And he went back and he looked, and he wasn't taking the coach's word on it. He went back and looked at emails in the last year in which he did some research, and he looked into who it was that this year's Miami of Ohio basketball team tried to schedule. And it's like 6 Power 4 schools that went, no, we're good. And that's to come to their place.
Right. I'm guessing the Buckeyes were one. You got to figure if you're Miami of Ohio, you're asking to play Ohio State every year.
I think Pitt was one. All
they
right.
have beaten Pitt. Pitt sucks.
Yeah, capable.
It's embarrassing what's happened to Pitt basketball. That bothers me. That that used to be a great venue. Still is a great venue. They're just not any good anymore.
Listen, we could do a whole segment on the old Big East and how the move to the ACC or elsewhere, how that's worked out, what that's done to your athletic department, football, basketball, you name it. And is there a way, quite frankly, to resurrect? Is there a way to have a Big East football conference? I think the only way to do it is to get Notre Dame to do the deal they're doing with the ACC, but do it with you, okay, in which you find a way to give them even more money. Problem is Notre Dame's got 10 more years left on their ACC deal.
Right.
But
the only way for something like that to happen realistically for me, David, is for the NCAA as a whole to go get their television rights as one.
Right.
Then if a conference, then if the Pac-12 wanted to come back, they could in theory, if you know what I mean. But that's where you've got to be getting the television rights as a whole. And until that happens, what you're talking about is a pipe dream.
The other thing that hurt Miami of Ohio was they had a couple teams on the schedule who just last year won 20-plus games. Like they had like a UNC somebody, Wilmington, Asheville, something like that. And they went in the tank this year, both of them. And so Miami of Ohio thought they'd have a couple of decent games on the schedule, and the teams turned out not to be, which can happen in small conference college basketball one year to the next. Tough to guarantee what you're going to have, who you're going to lose in the portal. So anyway, Michigan, first Big Ten team to go undefeated on the road in conference play since the historic 76 Hoosier team, and Miami of Ohio going to essentially their death valley. Athens, Ohio tonight.
I may now watch that game. I had no interest. I really didn't. I watched the scores, but if that's close in the second half, there's a really good chance I'm putting it on.
9:00 ESPN2.
Ooh, that's a late one. I mean,
yeah,
that's a true 9:00 game. That's Eastern time zone. So fascinating. Couple of texts I want to get to, David. Unless I'm sorry.
No,
okay.
No, the only hoop thing I was going to say is very interesting game tonight. A team that's on the bubble and they're on the wrong side of it. Seton Hall is home for Pitino and St. John's. And we've been talking about Big Ten teams like Ohio State and Indiana who have faced Auburn's got a must-win tomorrow at Alabama. Seton Hall with an absolute must-win tonight. To have any chance of getting an at-large, they got to pull the upset on the Johnnies.
And the Johnnies just got beat, so they're coming off a loss. So you got to think Pitino's team's going to play much better than they did in their last outing. We got a first ever text from someone yesterday, and I brought it up on the air. The guy who just basically said, if I show up at your house and you've got kindergarten snacks, I'm leaving, about the cheese noodles.
Right.
He follows it up today with a really solid text. During the starting five, I caught it a little late. He says, BST, BS traffic. He used the whole words. I'm like, that's pretty funny this time of year. And I did reply to him. I said, not bad. Now stop and get some Cheetos. It'll make everything better.
There you go. Crunchy.
Right. And Crunchy did win, by the way. Most people that are texting about the meeting today do not think things are going to get done.
Right.
One even said they don't watch college football anymore because it's just the training ground for the NFL anyway. I could argue it always has been. When was it not the training ground for the National Football League? In the 1950s? Seriously. When was it not the training ground?
I would actually argue with that gentleman and say it's part of why they're watching more now. The NFL's never been more popular since college football is the unofficial minor league system for the NFL. I think it has helped lead to why it is college football's viewership is what it is. The NFL is helping college football and vice versa.
Someone upset that Tebow decided to not show up to it. Another person asked, what are Ward and Tebow going to do? First off, to that person, Tebow's canceled. He's not going. And I don't know what Charlie Ward's going to do to back up the players. I have no idea.
None. I have no idea what his views are on this.
I'm not sure why he's invited. I'm really not. He's not someone that's in the media out speaking on this. I've never heard an opinion from Charlie Ward on this. Not one whatsoever.
Now, I will say I love the fact of all the athletes in the room, he's the only one that's played the two big sports. He played men's basketball and football at the same time and played them both really well.
Really well.
So, I do like that aspect of it. He's got that view from an athlete's point of view. Of course, it was 30 years ago, but whatever.
And one guy simply says, a room full of rich, powerful dudes that want something from the president. I bet they get it. And I'm not even saying a room full of it. I'm saying Nick and Urban. That this meeting's happening because of Nick and Urban. It is.
It is. Tiger Woods is in the room. Can he contribute one thing? And I mean it. Besides giving somebody a golf tip, can he contribute one thing? Adam Silver's in the room. In theory, a commissioner of a major sports league it sounds good on paper, but he's got a collective bargaining agreement. He sits down, the players are equal. Hell, some have argued the players are running the league more than he is. His point of view in this is interesting to say the least. Is there one thing that Adam Silver is going to contribute here that the rest of the room goes, wow, we should be doing that? I'm curious. Now, I think Adam Silver could consult with college sports about their next TV deal.
Well, I don't think Adam Silver wants to consult with them about their next TV deal. I think Adam Silver wants the status quo, all of the conferences operating independently, because if they all come together, they're going to get more money than he is. And when his next contract's up, they might not get as much money.
Good thing is he's got 10 more years after this one left on his contract. He can resign before that one's up. But I'm just curious. Some of the people that are invited, is there one significant thing? Listen, I'm going to be really snarky. Charlie Baker's invited. What the hell's the president of the NCAA going to add to this? What's he done since he got the job? That's as snarky as I can be.
Well, I do think the weight rooms for the women's tournament are a little better now.
Seriously. I want to walk up to Charlie Baker and go, why are you here? What can you contribute to this?
At least Tiger had Arnold Palmer buy him lunch and he had to give the money back. So he has perspective on the new rules and how they would have benefited him when he was a collegiate athlete.
Right. Do you know Jay Billis said that that's part of the reason why he chose Duke? He said, when other coaches came and they took me out to lunch, they all paid, which was against the rules at the time. Jay Billis was being recruited in the early 80s, and you couldn't pay for a high school kid's meal. And that's what Mark was referencing. Arnie wanted to meet Tiger, had heard about him. He's in Stanford, takes him out to lunch, and Arnie paid. And the NCAA said, Tiger better pay you back or his college eligibility is over. And Jay Billis said when Coach K took him out to lunch, Coach K said to him, well, I can only pay for my half. You're going to have to pay for yours. And Jay Billis was like, well, at least I know this guy's on the up and up because everybody else paid for my lunch.
We'd take this guy to lunch and try to pick up the bill. He might not let us, but we definitely try. He's Pat Kirwan. He's next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good
Hello,
morning.
David. No, good. Do you hear me?
I sure can. How are you?
Great. I am good. Well, yeah, I'm all right. Getting to it now.
Things working out?
I don't think I can answer that.
Oh, wow. Okay. You got hockey this weekend, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, they had a great one Wednesday, 3-0, 27 saves by my man Johnson. Yep. We're into March. He starts playing now.
I was going to say. In fact, he's still their goalie is remarkable.
He tried to retire, and they talked him into it. I thought they were going to keep him off the roster till now, March 1st. But then he came out and played the whole time. So they play tonight again, and then tomorrow night. It's all good. Pretty fired up to go. It's nothing better than when I can go to hockey and not think about football. And it's great to go to the Saturday games because I get stuck on some. They don't have a lot of Saturday games earlier in the year. It's kind of like it's I don't know if they're on the road with some of those non-division games. But this time of year, it gets pretty routine. There are a lot of Saturdays, which I like. It's good. They had 6,000 people there Wednesday night. Keep thinking of last night.
That's a nice Wednesday showing.
Yep. The Saturdays have been.
Yeah. Those have been sold out for a few years now, haven't they?
They claim they are. I mean, I always see a couple empty seats, but it's nothing. There's a mob scene. It looks more like a playoff game crowd. I have to go over there today, as a matter of fact, this morning. Give me a little friction about. I don't know what the hell they took the bottoms off the tickets. I keep saying, Neff, I've been going into the club every time I go there, and they always say the same thing. Your name's not on the list. I always give them your name. They go, well, there's a number of names not on the list. And they always let me in the list. It's the same lady all the time. But
well, what's weird is my understanding, the tickets that are purchased, the parking is included and entrance to the club is included. And there's a little insignia on the ticket which showed that. Okay. Because we went in one time and it's like he showed the ticket and it's like this little thing right here gets me into Cyprus.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about that thing. Anyway, I'm going to go over there this morning and get it solved. You always let me in, but it's like every time. And I go, well, we don't have David Moulton's name on the list. And I go, well, this is what you said last year. And then by the time we got to near the end of the season, you said, oh, yeah, we found the names that never made the list because she's sitting there with a bunch of paper. So I'm going to go over there this morning and get that solved. No big deal. Yeah, I actually wanted to go over and watch hockey practice. A youth team that Brady used to play for has got something coming up. So I said, let me go over and see them and take care of this ticket thing. No, it's great fun. And I get a kick out of Brad Childress more than anyone else.
I would love to see Chili with his hair down.
He is really quite funny. And his grandson, after taking him to an Everblades game 2 years ago, became a goalie in Minnesota.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on what is now a Football Friday, because Pat Kirwan is joining us. You know Pat, NFL Radio's moving the chains during the season, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, this league is making great progress. It's not there yet, but it's about to get the Miller and Moulton seal of approval, as if we think because of all the younger general managers in the league that they are getting the hang of the fact that you can, in fact, trade. This league's getting fun, Pat.
Well, I wanted to make sure you saw that with your own two eyes because you had a cynical mind Mark and I had to put up with for decades, that you thought they were too boring and they wouldn't get to this. But Mark and I are quite relieved. that the trading is on. Let the trading begin, Mark. Let the trading begin.
Well, there's no doubt, Pat. And hey, look, I like it from this standpoint, and I do kind of giggle because everybody's like, well, why wouldn't you just wait till this guy got cut? Because then you're bidding against 30 other teams for this player's services. Late picks, 5th and 6th round picks, they make the team more than ever before, and that's salary cap reasons. And I get it, but I like what the Bills did yesterday. I liked what the Lions did in moving Montgomery. I think these trades, and I like it from Houston's standpoint, they needed a running back. So these trades are not only business related to get under the cap, but there are teams out there that are making their rosters better right now, Pat.
Well, it's interesting because I do think Bill Cowher said this to me yesterday. These are the most important 3 weeks of the year in the National Football League. This is when your team is going to be developed, brought together, and decisions made about free agency, which comes before the draft. And so I look at some of these moves. We'll talk about more. I didn't really, leaving the combine, I didn't feel like there were really any true number one receivers. I think there's a lot of 2s and 3s in the draft. There's nothing wrong with that. There aren't 32 number ones on the planet anyway. So there's motivation to get the Moore deal done. McDuffie deal's interesting to me. I was talking with somebody in Kansas City yesterday, and if you look at it, 3/4 of their secondary is not there. 2 are in free agency, and 1 just got traded. To trade McDuffie when your other corner and your safety are on the free agent list and the top of the list is pretty scary. So that one intrigued me that they even did it. And I get why the Rams did it, because they concluded why they lost to the Seahawks. And they need McDuffie. And then in the Montgomery one, I'm happy with that deal for the Houston team, but criticized all over the place because of his age. He's a hammerhead. He's going to be fine. And I think there's a kid up at the University of Washington that could really help Detroit get themselves another pounder to go along with their elite back up there, Gibbs. So we'll see if they react to it that way. But I like the deals that are going on. I keep saying the same things every year to you guys. The R words are in play: reduce, release, restructure, resign, restricted free agent. And now you're seeing these teams that don't have the cap space are not tendering all of the restricted kids. So that little list is growing. And we're up to, as my count is by who I think is worth continuing to play. I'm already up to 20 released guys that are bolstering the free agent lists. And we'll get to another 20 of those guys by the time we get to Wednesday. So you just see this steady flow. All you got to do is go to the teams that have, they're over the cap and realize where they have to go. Look at Minnesota, way over the cap, and they're dumping out guys. So, and defensive linemen to boot.
I was going to say some good players. When you're only saving $6 million to get rid of Jonathan Allen, I do think you have to question, is losing him worth $6 million? Is there a bigger cut somewhere, or do you need to make a major trade? Do you need to unload a big salary via trade? Let's go back quickly, because we had you on Tuesday and the tags had to be assessed by Tuesday afternoon. The 3 franchise and the 1 transition tag. Did you like them?
I don't like transition tags for quarterbacks. It's pretty easy to make life miserable for the Colts. They couldn't obviously agree. I know that the club worked off the Sam Darnold deal, which was $33 million a year. I thought it would end at $40 million per year for 3. I said that on your show. They get frustrated. They put a transition tag. Here's what can kill them. Someone with a lot of space. All you got to do is look at the teams with a lot of space. There's 2 or 3 of them need a quarterback. If they wanted Daniel Jones, they would put a $40 million roster bonus in the deal. And that would break the back of the Colts, really, because that roster bonus has to be paid in cap sense all in the first year. That's the trick. That's not a poison pill. We get rid of all those crazy things. But we don't get rid of the opportunity to put a roster bonus on. So I think, and you can't take the kid back and then modify the deal. You're going to have to live with it. So they put themselves vulnerable there. And I don't know why they did that, because this is right to you, General Manager Moulton. The difference between the franchise tag and the transition tag for quarterbacks was $6 million. And for a cap that's $300 million, you love talking about this. The percentage of cap to take the risk off the table and have Daniel, I would have done that, but they didn't. And now if Daniel Jones brings a deal back to the Colts, which is what he's supposed to do if he gets one from someone, because they have the right to match, and it has a $40 or $50 million roster bonus, that's a backbreaker.
But I think the Colts are doing what the Giants didn't do. First off, the Colts should have realized, Daniel Jones and the way his people negotiate, they ain't leaving what they think is a dime on the table.
Right.
They bent Joe Shane over, and they got $40 million a year for 4 years. So to think that he's in this position again and he wasn't going to push it hard, you weren't paying attention 4 years ago. But remember, the Giants caved. And I think this is the Colts' calculated gamble way of saying, yeah, you ain't going to get anybody offer you more than $38 million. Who are you kidding? Let's just sit down and do a reasonable deal. We'll see if they've made a mistake. But the thing that surprised Mark and I is like what the Giants did. The Giants had 2 guys at the same time. Don't you have to sign one before you tag the other? I mean, if you're the Colts, don't you need to get Pierce signed before you play your game with Jones? Okay,
Right.
now they're going to lose their game-breaking wide receiver, okay, on top of it, because nobody who reaches Monday, we believe, is going to sign with their old team.
That, I believe, is true as well. And you have to look at the carnage that comes. So the first one is you lose the receiver, in theory, right? The second thing is if he brings back a deal that's a cap killer, then you're going to have to cut more guys. And they're already talking about doing that, right? We got the linebacker heading to the list. So it's never just about one guy. It's about multiple guys and multiple sacrifices. I would not have made that. Buy time. Mr. Hess's famous words to me. Always buy time. And the franchise tag was going to give you till middle of July. And if you didn't get it done, you can look at your owner and say, he's playing for us this year. So they didn't do that. And the receiver's gone. And I promise you, if the deal comes in the way I think it will, because if you want Daniel Jones, look at that quarterback list. Would you like Daniel Jones over anyone else? You don't really want to have Kyler Murray, do you?
No. And I don't know who you, Pat, and I think that's a great point. But as I'm looking at cap space, and I know teams can clear it and do things, but I'm looking at cap space and who needs a quarterback. Well, the Jets have the money. Do we see Daniel Jones going back to New York and the Jets taking a chance on him? The Steelers look like they have the money. I don't know if that's a fit there. But other than that, I don't see a lot of teams who need quarterbacks who have the cash, Pat. But the Colts, as you mentioned, they'll get there. But as of this morning, I believe they're still over the cap.
Yeah, they're over the cap. They don't have their quarterback. And even if he doesn't like the Jets, he's going to bring a deal back to the Colts. I've seen it backfire. There was a kid, a receiver, way back when. His name was Quinn Early, if you remember him, played for the Saints. He wanted to stay at the Saints, but he took a transition tag deal back to the Saints from the Falcons. And the Saints said, forget it. We're not going to match it. Next thing he knew, he was wearing a red uniform. So could it happen? Sure, it could happen. And I expect it to. I don't think you ever put a transition tag on someone and think no one's going to offer him a deal. You're asking for trouble, and that's a naive approach to this thing. So anyway, enough of him. We'll see where it goes. Someone told me Kyler Murray wasn't that good in baseball, and it was a baseball guy that I knew from college. And I called him. I said, now Murray's back talking about baseball. At least the agent is. And he goes, yeah, he had a high draft grade. He goes, but we thought he was terrible. At his age, are you going to threaten the NFL world with a baseball? I'm going back to baseball. I would laugh.
I got a minute. The Saints and Cam Jordan are headed for divorce.
Oh,
This is surprising. Saints are going to take a nearly $19 million cap hit. I know he's 36 years old, Pat. He had 10.5 sacks last year. This reminds me of Calais Campbell in Arizona, who at 39 had 6.5 sacks and 50 tackles. I mean, some guys just defy. Lomas Brown played tackle into his 40s. I mean, some guys just can play old. Don't you have to sign Cam Jordan if you need a defensive lineman? Got about a minute?
they don't have the cap space and they don't have the wiggle room. I went through all their contracts yesterday. They've already hit so many of those contracts. And if you look at them, there's minimum paragraph 5s and big bonuses over the last 2 years that they did continuously to get under the cap. And Demario Davis is right behind them. Those were the 2 best players on their defense. They're old and productive. We'll start with the pass rusher. You know, he took a deal that he said he'd never take again. So what were they going to do? I talked to the GM about it. He says, yeah, we want him back. Everyone knows that. He's Mr. New Orleans, beloved in the city. But they might have finally gotten to a point where they can't do it.
Well, there's a lot of teams that should sign him. I know he's 36, but 10.5 sacks at 30. I mean, I don't care how old you are, 10.5 sacks. He's Pat Kirwan. More with Pat. What's going to happen between now and the official start of free agency? Pat Kirwan joining us courtesy of Pinchers here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
At the Diamond District, we believe your I do deserves more.
More selection, more sparkle, more diamonds. You'll find the ring for your forever.
During our diamond event, March 6th through 8th.
Explore every cut, color, and carat weight imaginable, from timeless classics to striking modern designs.
Choose the ring that says it all. March 6th through 8th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, Pat, how are things?
It's okay. Things are rolling along here, but still
Who
battling.
they got you working with now? Are you keeping switching out partners, or have they kind of found somebody?
Well,
or where you...
we stopped that after a month of it. So I'll tell you all the issues here. The guy I'm with I like him a lot. You know him, Jacob Hester. He was the fullback for the Chargers. Played at LSU.
Yep.
He's been doing the college network, and they wanted me to have ultimately a player because it was Tim Ryan the player, it was Jim Miller the player. They like the front office versus the player conflicts and all that. He's wonderful, terrific, good guy. He's going to.
You said he works hard too, and he knows his stuff.
Yeah, he works really hard at it. And the problem is, they haven't come to a contract agreement with him. And I told them, I said, if you screw this up, and he turns this down, he did all this week, and he's scheduled to do next week. But he's already told me they've lowballed him so much. He goes, I have no reason to take this deal. And I called the head of the company yesterday and said, oh, let me just spell this out to you. You're lowballing him and he's not going to do it. And if he doesn't do it, I think I'm just going to retire. So you better shape it up or it's going to be over for the show. And he didn't he understood. I said, I don't want to hear you can't do it. The company's worth $8 billion. We do more commercials on our show than all the other shows put together on the NFL network. I said, we know how the audience, and so do you. And the other thing, he didn't even know this. We're on 12 hours a day.
Right. Pat, that's what cracks me up. And obviously now I'm not driving to the studio in the morning, but even because most of the time, the last thing I would have on after picking up my daughter was you guys. And then I get in the car at 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning or whatever. And you know what's on? You guys.
Well, I said to him, the funniest thing we say, and David has had to say it when he was on there, is like, hey, if you missed any of the show today, this is at 1 minute to 7. If you've missed any of the show today, we'll be coming right back for 4 hours. And then my son told me he takes the boat to the city every day for work at Wall Street. And he said, that's when I listen to your show. So I just said, let's just be smart and let's get it right. It's, look, I did 300 contracts. I understand how it works, and I understand what patience is all about. And I understand, as Mr. Hess said to me, the reason I want you doing the contracts, you're the only one that can keep talking. Everybody else takes it personal, gets mad, and smashes the phone down. I said, okay, I know how to keep talking.
Well, and we've talked about it a million times. You're the only show on that station too. And David and I aren't big take calls, but you're the only station on that network that interacts with the listener at all.
Well, get this. I did the other department, the guys that install in the car deals and all the other stuff that goes on, the big tech guys, they wanted me to come speak. They have a department of about 25, and they were having a seminar, and they asked me to be the guest speaker, which I said yes. So I spent Tuesday before the show 2 hours with those guys. And as it ended, we started brainstorming. They started telling me some of the new projects they have on the horizon. And they said, we're interested in all your caller types. We don't get that anywhere else. And he goes, we have some new products that could really enhance the callers, which they kind of disclosed to me what they were, but they said, we can't talk about it yet. But I was like, yeah. And I said, please do me a favor. Go tell the guys who don't like callers, this is a show of paid customers. This is not free radio. I've always operated from they're a paying customer. I'm going to give them what they want. And so the tech guys were like, thank you. We don't. And when I told them, David will back me up in this. When I told them most of the callers are on hold for an hour to 2 hours, they had all kinds of ideas of how to enhance the experience of being on hold, which I was really fascinated by.
All right, here we go.
So we'll see where it goes.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. 2 quick items. We were talking about the Saints as we headed to break. They just restructured Alvin Kamara's deal, freeing up $8 million, which, as Pat has detailed for years, they clearly need. One other thing, the Rams just signed safety Cam Curl 3 for $36. So they keep him in the fold with a 3 for $36 extension.
Well, I'm all in favor of those kind of things, especially if you have a now team, right? You believe your team is Super Bowl worthy. When you don't have a now team, extending Kamara and pushing money to future years I mean, I think the three of us had discussed maybe it's over for Kamara there. Not that he can't play anymore, but can you afford to keep pushing money down the road for guys in their 30s? I think the only thing really they have in their back pocket with Cam is they might be willing to put guaranteed money in a second year. I think most guys are going to try to sign Cam with a 1-year deal, and the second year deal is nothing.
Pat, let's talk the Jags for a minute. David's in Jacksonville, and he's talked all off season. In his opinion, this is a big year for them because the Jags, as everybody knows, have had trouble putting back-to-back seasons together. Coming off of a great year last year, we think pretty highly of that division now. We didn't a year ago. They just restructured a couple of guys. But are you fine with them letting Etienne go? It seems that that's the move they're going to make. And, it's an important position, but it's also one you've talked about being able to get a guy day 2 in the draft or day 3 in the draft. When you look at the Jags right now, they've still got to make a couple cuts. Are they positioned to, even if it's not repeat winning the division, make the playoffs? And what do they need to do to ensure they're in the best position to do that come September?
Well, you don't want to go backwards, Mark. And if they don't have ATN, they're going backwards. And you look at, there are running backs that are available that are serviceable guys. And they can go pick up 2 of them for the price of what ATN might get on the open market. So I was surprised that they had enough cap issues that they shouldn't have, but they do. And then I looked at their contract book to tell you the truth. And you know what? Most of these, like Buffalo, they got cap issues. They can go to the Bank of Allen, Josh Allen, and create space so easily, just like they always can in Kansas City. But that's not the case with Trevor, because Trevor's already got his salary down to $2 million. So you can't go and spread that out. You look at it and go, how am I going to do that? Small paragraph 5. There's no way to give him a signing bonus and a restructure. So it's a little tougher, but life could go on without ATN. I liked a couple of backs in the draft, but I would say if I were them, I'd bring in at least 1 veteran and 1 mid-round pick, 3rd, 4th round, somewhere in there, and that might be the answer to it. But to me, they're going to move in more and more towards a Trevor offense.
All right. I know it's stupid of someone like me to question what John Schneider's doing based on his last 2 years and what they just accomplished. But they had 3 free agents in the secondary. They still have 3 free agents. They had Kenneth Walker. They still have Kenneth Walker, and they didn't tag. I mean, there's a part of me that's wondering, hey, Seattle, what are you doing here? What are we missing about the inactivity in Seattle?
It is a mystery. There was no way I was going to let Kenneth Walker out the door. But when I talked to Mike, their head coach, he was very relaxed about Kenneth. He goes, Kenneth knows we love him. We want him here. It sounded to me, this is conjecture, that they were pretty far down the road on getting something together to get him done. But I would have never let him out the door, and I would have tagged him. The front tag is not that bad. The secondary stuff, I think we all knew Reek Woolen wasn't coming back. So that one was easy to see that was we tried, we worked with you. You had a couple episodes. You're not the starter anymore, yet you play a lot. We'll replace that another way. I find it a little interesting, but I think your first comment's the truth. John we trust. I think we have to stick with that motto and see how he plays this one out. It would be awful if they blew up a team that won a Super Bowl.
Pat, talk to me about the Bucks. Now, we've already talked about Max Crosby, and I think that's probably too rich for the Bucks. But Hendrickson is there. Now with Moore being traded to the Bills, does that mean it's a better shot to keep Evans? When you look at the Bucks here the next few days, what do you see them doing?
Well, the Max Crosby thing, I think it's too rich, and they haven't come off that 2 number 1s and maybe a player. When you look at Hendrickson, yeah, he's older, but I went and did a 41-game comparison of them 2 days ago, and it's justifiable that with Hendrickson, you don't have to give anything away but cash, and you could build a deal that you can live with. But in the last 41 games, comparing them, it's 39 sacks for Hendrickson and 30 sacks for Crosby. Crosby beats him out on tackles for a loss significantly, but he loses to him on hits on the quarterback, forced fumbles. So all I need with Hendrickson is cash. That's the guy I'm going to go after. I love Max Crosby, but I'm not giving away 2 number ones because they've got enough old guys that they have to be thinking those draft picks have to become core players in the next couple of years as they transition out of Levante David and Mike Evans and all these guys. Don't slip up here.
Yeah, but they spent 13 on Reddick last year. I mean, Hendrickson's probably going to be in the 25 range because he's 31 years old. I mean, the other guys are making in the 30s. Daniel Hunter got 40 yesterday. I mean, can you get Hendrickson 3 for 75 and you guarantee the first 2? Can you get him for that?
Yeah, I don't think you get him on opening day. But I'll tell you right now, if you go for Crosby and give away the picks, he's going to ask for a big contract extension. So you're going to, whatever you think, like Hunter got, he's going to say I'm worth more than Hunter. Whether he is or not is a debatable subject. I think Max is great. But the production says I can find that production other places. We just talked about Big Cam and his 10.5 sacks. For very little money, comparatively, Von Miller had a good year. Go look at his production. That kid Mohammed up in Detroit had 11 sacks. No one's even caring about him. So,
well, I think the 2 guys Minnesota got rid of too have been productive that you're going to get a hell of a lot cheaper as well, Pat. I mean, you already talked about the cuts the Vikings have to make. These are some pretty good interior defensive linemen in Minnesota they let go.
Yeah, and you can get big push out of the big guy, former commander. But I don't think this is a Belichick rule. You ever notice with Belichick, he rarely went berserk on the first week of free agency. The only time he went nuts was for Stephon Gilmore, and everyone was shocked by it. But when I was with him, it was kind of like, hold your water. We're not going to start our free agent hunt until the 3rd week. And he just would let all the irrational deals come and go and then settle in for what we want to do next. So I love Crosby. This is not a comparison of which guy. I can't afford the price tag on Crosby. He'll want a new deal, and you got to give up 2 number ones. Would you do that, David?
If I'm Detroit, absolutely. Well, no deal? No. And I would tell him, no, you're not getting a new deal. Don't come here if you want a new deal. You got your new deal a year ago. You want to win. We're going to win. Okay, that's what we're giving you. I would not give Max Crosby a new deal at all. And if he wants a new deal, I wouldn't trade for him. But if I were somebody in the bottom of the first round, would I give up 2 ones for Max Crosby? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And a player.
But nope. 2 ones. Trust me, the Raiders will do it. They'll do it.
Oh.
They'll do it.
I love that.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, and listen, they'll do it.
If you were the Raiders, would you do it?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
They got to build for 3 years from now, not now. And
correct.
And Crosby's not a part of that future to me.
Get ready. Get ready for a bizarre demand from those guys.
Okay. He's Pat Kirwan. And he joined us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline. The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Boy, they are really screwing up this World Cup. This is unbelievable. First, the ticket prices. And now Fox has announced, or I guess I don't know if the World Cup is announced, but it's stupid. I mean, Mark, they just announced the U.S. men's national team's preliminary schedule in the World Cup. They're playing at 9 o'clock at night Eastern, 3 in the afternoon. Now, I don't know when June 19th is. I don't know if that's a Saturday or a Sunday. Anybody know when June 19th is? But 9 o'clock at night, 3 in the afternoon, 10 o'clock at night.
Sorry, doing blood pressure, David. Can't talk.
I understand.
I'll be right back.
So June 19th is a Friday? Holy crap. So they're going to put the U.S. first game on June 12th, Friday night at 9 o'clock. Then they're going to put them Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And then they're going to put them Thursday night at 10 o'clock. What the? Friday night, Friday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday night at 9, Friday at 3, Thursday night at 10. All 3 matches on the West Coast. This is ridiculous.
I believe that Dave is unhappy.
Oh my goodness.
I believe that David is unhappy.
I just
doesn't matter where the players are from, DC. You're trying to get the majority of Americans to watch. That's the point of having the tournament in this country. And to be honest, you play all the European matches at 1 p.m. Eastern as best you can, so that they're on prime time over there.
right.
Here we go.
It's a TV show.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We have 6 hours and 22 minutes till the NHL trade deadline. Apparently, Austin Matthews is in play quietly. He's got a no trade clause in his contract, but let's be honest. Does he look happy? Does he seem happy?
Do they seem happy having him there? Do their fans seem happy having them there? Is there anybody in the country of Canada that wants Austin Matthews playing for a Canadian franchise right now?
And apparently Utah and Nashville want him.
I wouldn't go to Nashville. I mean, I'm sorry. This is where I'm greedy. Yzerman, get off your ass and do something. I'm serious here. You got all these prospects. Enough already. You got draft picks. You got prospects. You've got cap space. Do your job, for Christ's sake. I'm getting pissed at Yzerman. He hasn't done a damn thing yet.
If he doesn't do something significant in the next 6 hours and 21 minutes, I understand he's one of the 5 greatest wings of all time. I get it.
Maybe 3. Maybe 3 great.
Yeah, but I was playing it safe. I was playing it safe. Okay. Definitely one of the 5 best. You're probably right. I get it. Jersey, number in the rafters, the whole deal. 6 hours and 20 minutes. He doesn't do something, get somebody else. Seriously.
I don't know what, and I know we're in Florida and we're on in Tampa. I'm telling you, I don't know exactly what Tampa needs to add. We got a text from someone really, and moaning about the way Hedman's been playing. He's not part of your top 2 anymore. Hedman wasn't Hedman was -1 last night. Braden Point was -3. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, the problem is you're stuck with Hedman. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't unload him. Okay.
But I don't know what it is they need to add other than maybe a depth piece or 2. Their top lines are what they are in Tampa. Their top D is what it is. Their goaltender is their goal. Tampa can't. I don't believe with where they are cap wise, Tampa can add something significant.
However, you've lost 4 in a row. Is it to the point where you need to make a trade or 2 just to change the room? Honestly, do you just need 2 new faces in the room to let everybody know, we ain't 19-1-1 in our last 21 anymore. Things need to change.
David, maybe, but it's still a depth piece. It's a character guy. It's not a, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Colorado, here they are. They've not been terrific in the last month. They were unbelievable, through early January. They were the best, one of the best records we've ever seen in the league.
Correct.
They're making moves right now. They're getting players.
By the way, Mark, your Wings did return a 37-year-old forward.
Oh, yeah. Thank God for that.
So you're saying David Perron is not going to be enough?
Jeez Louise.
You're expecting a little more? But it's been relatively quiet. Okay, for an NHL trade deadline, this has been relatively quiet. 6 hours and 18 minutes left. I expect madness
You know who's making moves? You know who's doing things? The team that's now what, 21-5-2 in their last
26-5-2 in their last 33.
Sorry, I apologize to every Sabres fan out there. That's on me. Give me that record again. 26-5-2.
Right.
And you know what they're doing? They're out acquiring players.
Right.
They're getting better.
Right. Right. Because they haven't been in the playoffs in 15 years, and they'd like to stay for more than a week and a half. Hell, they just tied the Lightning for first place in the division, which makes them second place in the East. Now, the Lightning have 2 games in hand, but with the way the Sabres are playing,
by the way, I did laugh. Vegas, who people think can do some damage. What did they do yesterday? They put Stone on the long-term IR.
Right.
David, I wonder if he'll be able to come back for the playoffs. My guess is he will.
Mark, I'm guessing game 1 of the playoffs may be in a shocking development. It's game 2.
So watch for Vegas to be buyers today because they're leading that division, and that's an easy division to get out of. And then all of a sudden, you're 4 wins away from the final. Yeah, you're going to have to play Dallas or Colorado or Minnesota, but you're 4 games away at that point.
I will say, though, man, Vegas is only a point ahead of Anaheim. There's a huge difference between that division, Vegas, Anaheim, Edmonton, than there is what's going on with Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota.
No, I got you. But
I know.
But all of a sudden you're in.
Right.
Okay, Vegas trades for Bobrovsky. Do you think they're a different team then? Because you and I both don't like Hill. So, I'm just saying they freed up cap space. Yeah, Vegas wouldn't even be in the playoffs in the East, David. They don't have enough points to qualify for the playoffs in the East, I believe. If they're in, it's by a point now. So I understand, but there's a little bit of there's a little bit of pedigree there. They've made playoff runs before. So I'm just saying that's a team that's done this before.
And guys want to go there. Okay. This ain't like, Peroika there, who at St. Louis, who would have been a terrific acquisition by Buffalo. And he's got a no trade for half the league, and one of them's Buffalo, and he wouldn't waive it to go to the Sabres. Okay. Which is a bummer for Buffalo. But who said no to Vegas? Anybody say no to going to Vegas?
By the way, no taxes. All the same things we talk about with Florida and Texas teams.
Trade
Vegas
their players
is
great.
No.
Right. And I just got to say it again. If you're Edmonton, between Bobrovsky and Binnington, if they're traded, how do they not? I know you made a deal earlier in the year for the Penguins guy. I don't know what to tell you. He got hurt again. You made a bad deal. Double down. It's like finding a quarterback. You don't have one. You need a goalie. Okay? You got Connor McDavid for the rest of this year and 2 more years. Go get Binnington. Go get Bobrovsky. Stop blanking around trying to win a cup with inferior goaltending. Both those guys have lifted Lord Stanley. Okay? One of them has lifted a gold medal. Stop it. Go get them. You've got the best player in the world, maybe the 2 best players in the sport. Stop it already. All right, I'm done.
I don't blame you. You're right. Everything he said, I agree with it 130%. And plus, I've got a soft spot for the Oil. I love Edmonton.
And I don't.
Back to when it was Edmonton dethroning the Islanders, I was in like 7th grade when they finally won that cup. And my 2 buddies were Islander guys, me and the teacher. The teacher liked me because I was into Edmonton and Gretzky and Messier and Curry and all those great players, and Grant Fuhr doing lines off of strippers and then winning games. Everything about those Edmonton teams is fantastic.
I loved some of the individual players, but first off, I always had a soft spot for the Winnipeg Jets, who couldn't beat Edmonton with the subpoena from the Order of Canadian Merit. Okay. By the way, quick sidebar. They're giving Don Cherry finally what's the equivalent in this country of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Finally.
Yeah, now put him in the Hall of Fame where he belongs.
It's a disgrace.
Did more for the game than any announcer ever. And I'm talking Kelly. I'm talking all the great ones. You know, Doc Emmerich, who I love. And I mean, I would do anything to get Doc on this show because he'd talk for hours. He spoke to all the when I was a broadcaster in the ECHL, they brought in Doc Emmerich. It was the last meeting of the day. The first thing he said, first off, he complimented one of the guys because he happened to hear him do a game. He said, "Who's the announcer for this South Carolina team?" Darren Abbott rose his hand. He goes, "You do a good job, young man. I happened to drive through town, and you know me, I'm flipping through AM radio, and I found a hockey game." He goes, "You're a good announcer," which, how about that? And then he spoke to the group he was scheduled to speak for, I think, an hour. He said, "Guys," I think it was 4:00. He said, "My flight's at 7:30. I figure I got to get to the airport by 6:45. Until then, I'm yours." Did 2 hours and 45 minutes. But trust me, as great as Doc is and as much as Doc Emmerich did for the sport, it's a thumbprint on what Don Cherry did for the sport. It's an embarrassment he's not in the Hall of Fame. An embarrassment.
And how Ron McLean and all those folks north of the border bailed on Don Cherry. They should be embarrassed and disgraced. Okay? Absolutely embarrassed and disgraced. And he should get finally the Order of Canada. He should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. All right. We're done. Back to the trade deadline, 6 hours and 11 minutes. Very quickly, how would you like to be? And I know most of you don't care about hockey, and you probably don't give a darn about this specific player, but John Carlson's been with the Capitals like 14 years. Okay, Ovechkin's their best player. The guy who owns the room is John Carlson. John Carlson gets traded last night. John Carlson was asleep. He had no idea until he woke up this morning. How could nobody from the organization get a hold of him? How do you wake up and you're pouring your coffee, your cereal at home, and you find out you've been treated? You got all these texts and whatever. You sound asleep. Didn't know he'd been traded.
And I don't know if Ovechkin's still the best player there, but he's the best player in the team's history.
Well, over the 14
he's the best player
years,
in Washington Capitals history.
Yeah,
no doubt.
question. Yeah,
no doubt.
But what a changing of the guard, because they traded away their second and third most longest standing players in the last 2 days, and Ovechkin's contract's up. And
there's no need to resign him. He got the record. I mean, to be brutally honest, that's what they needed from him. He did it there. Yep. That's what they wanted.
Yep. He sold tickets when they weren't good. Okay. Broke the record. Produced a good team last year. They went to the second round. Thank you very much. Bada bing, bada boom. Have a nice life back in Russia, probably. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, he can play over there for another 5 years if he wants to and make a boatload of money.
Right. He'll play in the Olympics in 4 years for Russia. Don't kid yourself. But anyway, 6 hours, 10 minutes, trade deadline. And that's what I'm curious about. All these nice second right-handed defensemen, third line centers, okay, couple of prominent guys who are top six forwards. John Carlson's a big acquisition for Anaheim. Okay, yeah, okay, that's great. Somebody big getting traded. Somebody big. And
I think it's one of the, I think it's Trocheck.
Well, Trocheck's going to get traded, although apparently the Rangers aren't getting what they want. But
because players spoke yesterday, kind of on his behalf and how much he meant to them and what a mentor he was. And some of the young guys spoke eloquently about him, kind of letting you know he gone.
Yeah, and they scratched him last night. And the other guy they scratched, they traded. So, but I'm curious. Apparently Utah, which is loaded with prospects, the former Arizona Coyotes, apparently Utah wants them and they're willing to give up the house for Austin Matthews. Remember, he's from Arizona. I mean, playing in Utah, to a guy who grew up a state away
and played in California growing up. So that's kind of that's as close to home as you're going to get.
Captain of the U.S. Olympic hockey team back in the States.
And remember, that part of the world is big into the Olympics. Salt Lake's numbers every year for the Olympics are through the roof. Their fans are terrific. I mean, they're still great for the Jazz, and the Jazz are horrible.
I think the Lightning make at least one deal because I think they need to change the room a little bit. Okay, just snap them out of it. Lost 4 in a row, even if it's a fourth line guy, trading a fourth line guy for another fourth line guy, whatever. I think they got to make a move.
How many players do the Panthers sell off? Bobrovsky's one, but are there other older players that they get rid of because they've spent a lot of money? They do not have wiggle room to go out and get free agents. They're up against it cap wise.
Right.
So, would a Marchand get dealt?
I'm wondering, does a Bennett or a Kachuk, could somebody pry them away?
I don't think Kachuk, but I do think Bennett.
It's a long-term deal they just signed him to.
Which makes it hard to get him. You've got to have the money to be able to pull that off. And the NHL's cap does not go up as significantly as other leagues. And it's a hard cap. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. That's next.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
They hate Matthews. Canada really, come on. You really think Leafs fans like Austin Matthews? They treat him like garbage. The media treats him like garbage. Hell, the Canadian media wrote he's a bad person because he went to the White House, for Christ's sake. They hate him. I couldn't get out of Toronto fast enough. I wouldn't want to play for that horse blank franchise ever. That is a garbage franchise. A garbage franchise.
I won't go that far, but he's only got 2 years left on his contract. They're not going to be good during that time. They don't have much of a system. They've made a lot of trades the last few years going for it. They don't have much to reinforce what they have at the NHL level. And what they have at the NHL level is not even playoff caliber. Okay. I think the Leafs have to trade him. I really do.
I'd give you Raymond, 2 prospects, and a draft pick right now if I was Detroit. Only guys I wouldn't trade are Sider and Larkin. Everything else is on the table.
I mean, think about it. If you're Toronto, you get one of the 2 goalies that Detroit has. Okay, they got to right because you got the AHL guy and the college
guy and the guy at Michigan State, Augustine or whatever his name is.
Yeah, pick which one you like best, and you say to Detroit, well, he's got to be in the deal. So that this way, if you're Toronto, you can unload Solars, okay, who has a long-term contract, but not for a lot of money, so he's actually tradable. And you'd have your goalie of the future. And the Leafs need prospects. Leafs need that organization right now is empty. Berube's going to get fired. Certainly not his fault. God almighty. I mean, you might as well trade Knies. It's Knies, right? Knies. God. To think they had Marner, Matthews, and who's the other one? Who's still on the team? The forward. Couldn't even get to a conference final. Won 1 playoff series. Unbelievable. Shocking. No, not Tavares. Nylander. I think they had Marner, Matthews, and Nylander and accomplished so little. That's staggering. Yesterday it was out there. It's very quiet, but that Utah and Nashville.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Friday. Got the NHL trade deadline in 6 hours. Got 11 small conference tournaments that are underway in college hoops. NFL free agency begins on Monday, in which everybody can legally talk to everyone else. On Wednesday, the new year begins at 4 p.m, so people can officially sign. Golf at Bay Hill, Arnie's tournament, a signature event before they go to the Players. By the way, apparently next Tuesday or Wednesday is the presser. It's not going to be on site at the Players.
It's going to be at the corporate office, right?
Right. I think down the road. And apparently it's going to be a lot more than even what's been speculated.
Oh, interesting, because I saw something yesterday, David, that contradicts what you just said. And I didn't dig into it, but someone said basically he thought, it was someone we follow in golf and someone we've had on the show, said, I expect them to announce they're going to kill the Hawaii swing. And that's about it, because they're not doing it in person. So tell me what you've heard, because I didn't see that yesterday.
Well, the Hawaii swing on top of the math doesn't add up. If you're going Super Bowl to Labor Day with the number of tournaments you have now, you say you want to leave certain markets and only play in the biggest markets in the country. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, do the math. Phoenix should be fine, right? But the tournament that used to be the Bob Hope, how does that survive?
No, I got you. I just, again, what I read from someone I trust, that they didn't expect much to happen because they're not doing it essentially in a face-to-face. It's a glorified Zoom call, and maybe they don't want questions, but that was just this person's opinion that he didn't expect to see a lot next week. That's why I'm just curious what you heard. I know what is expected, but he just gave the impression that because of the way this meeting is, we may not get the meat of this until later in the summer or in spring. That's all.
The other thing that's expected is apparently they want the players as a major. Period. They want it. Other PGA Tour players have already started using major. I mean, apparently this is a thing. They want it.
I hope the golf media has a backbone here, and I don't think that they do, because I would like to see the Bob Herrigs and the people who cover this sport just start writing articles going, you can't tell us what a major is. We know what a major is. That tournament's not a major.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate, but not wholly. There's a part of me that believes some of what I'm going to say to you, but I'll play devil's advocate. You tell me what's not major championship worthy about the players.
Well, other than the Masters, which is its own special place, and there isn't a player out there that doesn't have the utmost respect for that golf course. The Players is a tricked out golf course. It's cool. I like it, but it's a video game, for crying out loud. It's not Augusta National. It's not the rotation of the Open or the PGA, even for that matter, or certainly not the British.
Okay. I would argue there's a couple of courses in the Open rotation that people think are crap, to be honest with you. It's tough to find 4 people to say a good word about Carnoustie. Now, they don't play it there very often, in part because people think the course is ridiculously difficult and crap.
But even Oakmont, that you and I ain't big fans of, we're not.
Right.
Oakmont's a incredibly difficult golf course.
It is, no doubt. And certainly
it is a great test of golf.
Yes, it's exactly what the U.S. Open wants their tournament to be. It's perfect for the U.S. Open. Okay, so, but obviously the field at the Players, I mean, some think it's the best field in golf. It's certainly major worthy. We would agree with that, correct?
Well, I mean,
here's it's a far better field than the PGA.
I know it's a great field, but the majors all have an international flair to them. There is a system to get in the tournament. You can't play in the Players unless you're on the PGA Tour.
Okay.
So it's a PGA Tour event. It's not, the British Open, you can get in. If you're a 2 handicap, you can go qualify for the British or U.S. Open.
Right.
PGA Club Pro can get in the PGA. This is a tournament that's limited to PGA Touring pros. That's it.
Right. But if you're an elite international player, outside of the handful that are on the LIV circuit, you end up playing the 15 tournaments necessary to be a member of the PGA Tour.
I understand. But like Patrick Reed can't play in it this year. They've basically, he's out.
Right.
Live
This
guys
year.
are out.
This
So-
year, but next year, if it's a major next year, Patrick Reed will be in it. You know, Rahm and DeChambeau and a couple of others won't be. The whole
And
LIV
there's no
thing.
way for them to qualify to get into it.
I understand.
That's my. I guess that's the line in the sand I draw, David. You're right. It's a great field. I get it.
It's okay. In your eyes, it's not perfect, but the standard that I asked you is it major championship worthy? Is the field? Yes.
Is the field worthy? Yes, it is.
Okay. So the field is good enough to be a major. You and I both agree. We think the course is, gimmicky in spots.
It's cool.
Yes, the 16, 17, 18's great television. It is. Okay. You can make eagle and double on 16. You can make birdie or double on 17. And 18 is hard. It just is, with water all along the left side. No, it's a great finish. I mean, it's, once again, great television. But so what's your big beef, though? Is it just because we've got our 4 majors and
it changes? Yes, it changes the history of the sport now. Oh, well, this guy won 15 majors, but he won 4 players.
No. So he said, now, first off, I'm not on board with it being a major. I think it's a mistake that the LPGA has 5 majors. I think they should have made a hard decision and dropped one from the rotation. Sorry. Okay, but back to the PGA Tour. I'm not in favor of it being a major championship. If by chance they pound the table and huff and puff and eventually mark by the end of this decade, it's a major, I do not see how we can retroactively add winning the Players' Championship to major totals, because when they won the tournament, it wasn't a major.
Okay, but I'm just talking about Scheffler, who's at the peak of his game right now.
Right.
So we're going to count, let's just say he strings along 3 players in a row. Those count in his major total now. No, they don't.
Well,
I'm not comparing that to what Jack did, to what Tiger did, to what Gary Player did. And at one point, we're going to say Scheffler won more majors than Gary Player because he won 3 Players Championships? No. I'm sorry.
Well, obviously, it would be, a number with an asterisk, because now he has 5 opportunities a year to win a major where the others only had 4.
Yeah. You really think the PGA Tour is going to put an asterisk on it? Because I don't.
Well, they won't, but we will as golf fans. We will not look at it as the same. Okay, we may not. They may get this called the major, and we may all just mock them and go, ain't a major to me."
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want the people who are in golf to do, and I don't think they will. And David, I'm not really even talking about 10 or 15 years from now, but all of a sudden 50 years from now, when you and I are long gone from this place, and we're adding, and they're talking about majors in golf, and some guys won 20 because he won 5 players. Seriously? Makes me sick.
I get it, but
bothers me more than what a dumpster fire the Leafs franchise is.
I got to get you off that. You were getting hot and heavy during the break. All right. What's the difference if over time golf goes from 4 to 5 majors, than the NFL going from 14 to 16 to 17 to 18 games? Okay.
Are we still playing a Super Bowl? Do we crown one champion?
I get it. Well, I get it, but guys are doing what over 18 games? They're achieving things that players, all-time greats, could not achieve during 14 games.
You're right, but I think you're going to have a tough time with that argument, at least with me, because you and I have talked about a gazillion times on this show. The NFL fan doesn't care about individual records.
No, they don't. Very few.
The baseball fan, if we went to 180 games, would get pissed off. But the football fan doesn't care about 2,000 yards and 4,000. They care what their fantasy guy does more than they care about individual records.
Well, my understanding is the tour wants it. And the tour is looking at the rest of the golf community going, we are the biggest thing in the golf world. Okay, that Augusta is special. The USGA, the PGA of America, the R&A. Yeah, the center of the golf universe is the PGA Tour. That's what the PGA Tour is coming out and saying. This is our elite championship. And they're going to say it's a world-class course with a world-class field. And by the way, it's the same course, and it's been the same course for 35, 40 years now. Okay, like Augusta, by the way. People know the course. We want it as a major championship. It's our major championship. Augusta has theirs. The R&A has theirs. The USGA has theirs. The PGA of America has theirs. And their argument is, how the hell could the PGA Tour not have one?
Don't know what to tell you. Is the field any different next week than it is this week?
I think there's a few more guys in it.
I mean, it's just another elevated event.
I think there's a few
PGA
more guys.
Tour. The PGA Tour is just becoming an invitation-only event.
Well,
I'd rather win that pro member that they have at Seminole there, right after the Cognizant. That's a better tournament.
It's a tougher course, too.
Better field.
Richer field, I'll tell you
No
that.
doubt.
Miller and Moulton. Man, we are going off the rails to end the week.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
At the Diamond District, we believe your I do deserves more.
More selection, more sparkle, more diamonds. You'll find the ring for your forever.
During our Diamond event, March 6th through 8th.
Explore every cut, color, and carat weight imaginable, from timeless classics to striking modern designs.
Choose the ring that says it all. March 6th through 8th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, right, Javier. I'm going full on with my physician's assistant today because I meet with her, not the doctor. I want to know why I can't cook. There are things that are starting to piss me off. I need answers.
Okay.
I need my magnesium pills increased because I don't need to sit in there for 2 hours, 3 days a week getting magnesium. Let's get this shit going. I'm really just kidding. I'm just more fired up about the damn Leafs. And I'm really getting PO'd about the damn Red Wings.
Well, you got 5 hours and 43 minutes.
I didn't even realize Perron's hasn't played like in a month and might not play the rest of the season because of a groin. It's an unrestricted free agent that's out with injury. That's the trade they made. But Paul, my tacrolimus, I think it's called, they moved that down. So that is part of the reason that my magnesium is down, because that apparently eats it up. Oh, I know. Trust me, Paula, I know. I probably broke the rules last night at the restaurant I went to. I had some arugula on my hamburger. It's a great burger. Oh my God, was it a good burger? Good meatballs, beautiful restaurant, Okinola, nice place. Although I got to say, both mom and the wife had some wine last night. These dinners without alcohol, they're really not bad. 2 of them killed me last night. I don't know if you're still there, Javier. That Okinola, as a chef, you would have liked this place. They had some fun dishes. Yeah, I had one part of it that they were having trouble getting blood out of yesterday. The one line. The other one they didn't. So they may have to do, what was it, a TPA or something like that? I don't know. I can be. I don't think it's necessary. But you know what? I can do an egg on it. But a fried egg on anything is not bad. I've got to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with a fried egg on damn near anything.
Correct, Javier. I am not.
It was a little hard though, Javier. They said, "Do you want it medium?" I said, "I need it medium well." That just exactly, Paula. But it was hard ordering a burger medium well. But it is what it is. It was still delicious.
It's how I prefer my steaks and my burgers.
I'll tell you what, Javier, you hit me up. I'll give you, David and I have a good friend who's a foodie. He gave me a list of restaurants and he did not, you would really like, if you've been to, I think you've been to the Rooster and the Till. As a chef, I think you would really enjoy sitting at the counter and watching them work. I thought that place was special.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts all coming up. Just one more tidbit about our discussion last segment. And if you missed our discussion last segment, the PGA Tour next week, one of the things that they're expected to announce is they really want the Players' Championship to be the 5th major. Obviously, PGA Tour level golf has only ever had 4 majors. You can go back even to when Bobby Jones won the Grand Slam. It was the U.S. Open and the Open Championship. It was the U.S. Amateur and the British Amateur. You know, we've only had 4 major championships. Although when we had the Masters and the PGA and the US and the British Open, up until about 35 years ago, when you won the US Amateur, they considered it a major. And you and I both have chuckled over the years. We're still trying to figure out, when Jack won the Masters in 86, Venturi says on the broadcast, that's number 20, because he had 2 U.S. amateurs to go with his 18 professional majors. But by the time Tiger ripped off 3 in a row in 94, 95, and 96 U.S. amateurs, the Masters title he won in 97 was not his 4th major. It was his 1st. So somewhere in those 8 years, they dropped the U.S. Amateur as a major championship, as a major one, etc.
And I actually think by then they should have. There were a lot of, when you go back to the 50s and 60s, there were a lot of players who didn't turn pro and went only to the amateur. I do want to switch gears here just for a minute, because something may happen tonight that I think is pretty damn significant. And I know most of our audience are not big NBA fans, but Jason Tatum might play tonight for the Boston Celtics. 10 months after rupturing his Achilles. One, that in and of itself is remarkable. 2, what that does of the power structure in the Eastern Conference, to me, is staggering, because no one's really considering the Boston Celtics. And they're really not considering the Pistons. Most think it's between the Cavs and the Knicks. And as long as the Knicks don't have to play the Pistons in the first round, they may be on to something. I mean, the Knicks can't beat the Pistons. They can't. But Cleveland, I think they're better than Detroit. Boston and Detroit with Tatum, I'll take Boston. In fact, I think the only team right now, I think Detroit needs to get the Knicks in the second round, David, to give them enough confidence to play either Cleveland or Boston. But David, if Tatum comes back, and now he's got, a month before the end of the regular season?
Oh, even a little more.
Right. 6 weeks. In your eyes, is that enough time to make Boston the favorite in the East?
Well, not to get too geeky here, but obviously things changed without Tatum. So now, remember, Tatum was Batman and Jaylen Brown was Robin. With Jaylen Brown as Batman, Mark, he's been incredible.
Well, and I think with the 6 weeks coming back, Tatum has to be Robin now. I do. I think that the roles have to be reversed. Can Tatum handle that? That's the $1 million question.
Okay. Well, but that's a big if.
No. I know.
It's a big if. You're the guy. You're the dude. You've always been the dude. I've never been the dude. You're the dude. Okay. All of a sudden, you're out. I got to take over as the dude. We don't have a chance if I don't take over and become the dude. And then I get pretty good being the dude. And people start going, damn, you as the dude might be better than the other guy as the dude.
No, I'm with you. The rug ties the whole room together.
So I do think it'll be interesting. Right now, they're the 2 seed. They're looking at a play-in winner, which would be either Miami or Orlando right now, although both those teams are only a half a game behind Philly. So I do think you're looking at Boston able to play their way with or without Tatum into the second round in the East. And then, it gets interesting. In theory, it's either Knicks, Cavs, or Pistons. Now, I'll say this. They don't have a ton of size. They don't. They're a small team. Okay, I'm curious about how they were going to do in the playoffs anyway. They're a small team. Now, I know the league in a way is getting smaller in a lot of places. But the 10-month thing, that in and of itself is fascinating.
It's remarkable.
And my guess is he'll never play back-to-back. Okay, he'll probably play every other, but just physically how he's going to hold up. That, please, nothing happens.
100%. Don't re-injure anything.
No,
right.
Please, just stay healthy, whether you're half the player you were, whatever. Just please don't please, I hope this is not a big mistake that Tatum and the Celtics are making.
And I just don't think with the money that you're paying guys in the NBA, you can't rush him. I mean, you've got to have complete clearance from your medical team that he can come back and play.
Apparently, he's been playing 5-on-5 in practice with the team for a month. I mean, they have not rushed this back. His recovery may be remarkable, but the Celtics are like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's not much more we can do.
So I'm fascinated by this because of, one, him coming back after 10 months. Two, you're right. Jaylen Brown's had an MVP-like season. He really has.
Yeah. And
he's not even he's being talked about it, but it's, now that SGA is going to play enough games and it looks like Jokic is going to play enough games, they're the two front runners. And I get it.
Boy, I'll tell you, I think you got to throw Cade Cunningham in there. And I do think Jaylen Brown needs to be in there.
I agree.
They're the 2 seed in the East, for goodness sakes, without Tatum.
Yeah, who would have thought that? I mean, people thought they might be a play-in team this year without Tatum.
I mean, they got one of the top 5 best records in the league without Jason Tatum.
So to me, it changes the dynamic in the East. I think it's wide open. I think matchups are everything. I don't know necessarily how Detroit and Boston match up with one another. I think Cleveland and Detroit, I've watched parts of the last 2 games. Cleveland looks better. They do. Detroit's having trouble with Cleveland. Knicks in Detroit might sweep them, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But the Knicks against everybody else, they might get to the final. So, matchups are going to be everything. And just to me, Tatum coming back after 10 months, if that does indeed happen tonight, holy Toledo, what a great story. Because we are 6 weeks away from everybody playing every game and the NBA being good. The playoffs are good, particularly as they go on. The second, third, and then the championship rounds are terrific. They are. The regular season sucks.
Awful. 7:00 tonight, ESPN, if you're interested. Dallas at Boston. Second and back-to-back for the Mavs. Be interesting if Cooper Flagg plays. Remember, he's from Maine. Okay, but he played last night in Orlando. Will they have him play back-to-back? I hope he does play. But, yeah. Jason Tatum, remarkable.
Great story. Our poll question today is, do you think anything significant will come from the President's College sports meeting today? Right now, 2/3 of you basically saying no, disagreeing with Miller and Moulton. We may be naive, but we think something comes out of this. We really do. And most people have, chastised us on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line saying you guys are way off base. He can't really do anything. We think that they can influence, Charlie Baker, who could make a new rule. We think he could put an executive order in. We think there's lots of things that could come out of this. We're not saying it's going to happen today, but we think, David thinks maybe next 60 days. I think even next 30 days, something will come out of this meeting. We'll find out who's right, but it'll take a little while. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when and what's on tap. We'll finish the week off next.
The fun is happening now at the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Bring the whole family. Thrilling midway rides, delicious fair food, good old-fashioned Florida fun. Experience agriculture up close. Meet the farm animals. Celebrate a community's roots. Live entertainment, family activities all day long. All under one roof at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, formerly the Lee County Civic Center. Get details and daily schedules at swflagexpo.com. That's swflagexpo.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, Leftwich, you were absolutely, you and Raj, who's listening on one of the apps, picked that up. My Big Lebowski reference. When you went dude all those times, that's why I said the rug really ties the room together.
Yes. No.
Well, I don't know if you've even really seen the movie, and certainly not seen it as many times as I have.
Well, I definitely haven't seen it as many times as you, but I just thought that, that was brilliant, and it just
you just let that go, right? You just keep,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you just leave that.
Right.
I'm with you. I do it. Hey, even if you didn't get it, I knew you knew that I had some sort of reference, and you just keep right on going. That's what we do.
Dude.
He was on Eisen, Jeff Daniels. And Daniels asked him about that movie, and I've heard most of the stories. I had not heard this one. When they do the scene when he's dreaming, and it's very sexual with all the mods and the women as bowling pins, and he's passed out. He brought his family that day to the shoot, and his daughter's reasonably young. And, Eisen's like, you did what? And so he was into photography at the time, and he had a big camera with like a panoramic lens. And he wanted to take a picture of all the women or whatever when they're doing that scene, when they're doing the rehearsal for it. And he's on like a skateboard, and they're pushing him through, or he's getting pulled through so that, it looks like he's going. Well, he looks up at the first woman, and her legs are spread, and all he can see is all this hair. And then the next woman's the same way. And the third woman's the same way. So as a trick to him, they all went to wardrobe and put like fake hair in there. So they had these 1970s type looks to them, if you will.
Fantastic.
That's funny. I mean, that's funny.
Fantastic.
I mean, I will say the stories Eisen gets on that are fantastic. I mean, when he gets those actors and he gets some stories.
Yeah. Canada relief, they're real simple. Okay, usually it depends on if the team makes the playoffs. Okay, then it becomes a better pick, or if they go a certain length in the playoffs. That's usually what the conditions are. Like, for example, the Caps deal with Anaheim. It's a first-round pick either this year or next. If Anaheim makes the playoffs this year, the Caps get their first-round pick this year. If they miss the playoffs this year, they get it next year. Like if it's the Detroit trade, that might have been like a conditional seventh. The condition is if the guy plays.
By the way, the other one, I don't know if you've seen, when Bill Murray was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, Jason Kelsey asked him if and I can't remember the actress's name, but the woman that was in Roadhouse.
Okay.
The love interest of Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse.
Right.
whenever Bill Murray saw that movie on TV, he would call her husband. And Murray tells the story. He goes, I wouldn't even say who I was. I'd call him and say, as a friend, you need to turn on TBS. Because Patrick Swayze is just giving it to your wife right now. Over the Top might be the worst Stallone movie ever. And I'm okay that you watched it, Deadstroke. I'm totally okay that you watched it. It is arguably the worst Stallone movie ever. That's the arm wrestling movie.
Which is saying something.
Yes, Kelly something. You're right, Left Twix. Kelly Lynch. There you go. Very, very well done. Very, very pretty woman.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. You know, I just realized something during the break. You could frame this, Mark, one of two ways: either what a goober I am, or what a loser I am. It was a year ago yesterday. I was in North Alabama, and I broadcast. We did our show in the morning, and I broadcast an A-Sun semifinal on the radio that night between Jacksonville and North Alabama. Got up the next morning, did the show on Friday, and drove home like 10 hours. It was NHL trade deadline day. And I had one of the greatest afternoons that I've had in years, because I drove the whole length of Alabama and then made a left on the Panhandle and then took I-10 home, listening to NHL Network Radio's nonstop coverage of the trade deadline for like 7 of those 10 hours, maybe more. And now I realized I don't have that today. I can't go in a car and drive around for 8 or so hours. And
David, I suggest you download the app. You know, it comes
do?
with the subscription. And maybe sit on your lanai and just tell the wife, I can't be bothered today. It's a trade deadline.
Sound really travels too. The people down below are going to be like, would you turn that down? And I'm going to be like, no, Trocheck's going to the Wings. Shut up.
I don't know what to say to that, because there's part of me that respects the hell out of you for doing that. And then there's part of me that wants to have you committed for doing that. And I'm not sure which one outweighs the other right now.
I'm a loser. It's okay. It's okay.
No,
it's
loser's the wrong term.
Goober?
Yes.
Puckhead?
Well, it doesn't matter. If it was the Major League Baseball trade deadline, you'd have been on MLB radio. If it was the NBA trade deadline, you'd have been on NBA radio. It was not because of one sport. It was because of a trade deadline.
No, you're right about that.
By the way, quick little thing before we get to this stuff here. We brought this up earlier in the week, how badly the McDonald's CEO looked. And then the Burger King CEO takes a huge bite of the Whopper. Did you hear what the Wendy's CEO did?
No.
To jump in on it.
Oh, no.
And look, and I don't do fast food, but everybody knows this. The McDonald's has the McFlurry if the machine works, because 90% of the time, apparently, when you go get one, their machine's broken. The Wendy's CEO does a video. He says, how's everything with the Frosty machine? Oh, yeah, ours always work. I mean, that is gold, and it's led to all this discussion on social media. When's the Five Guys guy going to jump in? The best comment I saw is, we really need the Taco Bell guy passed out at 2 a.m. with the crunch wrap.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, we start in 1836. I brought up last week or the week before when it started. It ended today, the Battle of the Alamo. After 13 days of fighting, Mexican soldiers overwhelmed Texan defenders, killing somewhere between 182 and 257 Texans, including Davy Crockett. 1857, the Dred Scott decision. Not a good one. Supreme Court rules that African Americans cannot be U.S. citizens. That would not age well.
Yeah, they got that wrong.
Yeah, well, it happens. 1899, aspirin is patented by Felix Hoffmann at the German company Bayer. Where would we be without it? Probably hungover. Two things in 33. First off, FDR declares a nationwide bank holiday to shut down the banking systems and pass the Emergency Banking Act to restore public confidence. But his wife, Eleanor, is the first lady to hold an official press conference at the White House today in 33. The trampoline was patented today in 1945 by George Neeson of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The first ACC men's basketball tournament today in 54. NC State beats Wake Forest 82-80 in overtime.
Was it in Greensboro?
Probably. Well played, David. Well played. It was today in 64 that Muhammad Ali joins the Nation of Islam and changes his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, calling his former title a slave name. This is for your mom, David. I don't know if she's listening. But today in 65, the Temptations single My Girl reaches #1 on the Billboard chart. It was actually written and produced by Smokey Robinson and Ronald White from The Miracles. Ali ordered by Selective Service to be inducted today in 67. 72, Nicklaus passes Palmer as golf's all-time money winner. But never the most popular one. It was always Artie's Army. I think until Jack won the Masters in 86, it was Arnie, right?
I'll say this. When Jack won the U.S. Open in 1980, kind of going back to the whole Miracle on Ice thing, America was feeling really bad about itself, and Japanese cars were beginning to really take hold in our country. And when Jack outdueled Japan's Isao Aoki to win the 1980 U.S. Open at Baltusrol, it was probably his biggest reception he got in the States. When he won the British in 78 at St. Andrews, they treated him like royalty. Okay. But when he won the U.S., in fact, Jack, if you ever watch his victory speech at the Masters, he said, I've only experienced this, like walking up 18. I've only experienced this 2 other times in my life. And he specifically mentioned 78 at St. Andrews and 1980 at Baltusrol.
Today in 76, in his 10th title defense, light welterweight champion Antonio Cervantes of Colombia is beaten by 17-year-old Puerto Rican boxer Wilfred Benitez in a 15-round split decision. Benitez, the youngest ever world champion, 17 flipping years old.
And this was in what year?
1976.
So 5 years later, Benitez fights Sugar Ray Leonard in 81. Okay, I think it was 5 years later. Maybe it was even sooner than that. And think about it. I think Sugar Ray was older than Benitez, and they were fighting for Benitez's title.
Larry Flint was shot today in Georgia in 1978. Cronkite signs off as anchor of CBS News today in 81. The #1 album in the land today in 82, The Go-Go's, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beat, first all-girl band with a #1 album. Highest NBA scoring game was today in 82. San Antonio beat Milwaukee 171-166 in triple overtime. The USFL begins its first season today in 83. Tyson's first professional fight today in 85. He would knock out Hector Mendez at 147 of the first round. The first Lethal Weapon film released today in 87. And the one time a Boston player was traded and Boston was okay with it. Today in 2000, Ray Bork sent to the Colorado Avalanche. Michelangelo, Kazimir Pawlowski, Lefty Grove, Lou Costello, Ed McMahon, Marion Barry. You remember him, the mayor of Washington, D.C., that we watched smoke crack on national television. Willie Stargell, Bob Trumpy, and Rob Reiner would have all celebrated birthdays today. David Gilmour from Pink Floyd is 80, and Shaq is 54. What did I miss, David?
He goes to jail. He comes out. They reelect him.
You're damn right they did.
Golly. Happy 124th birthday to Real Madrid. It was on this day in 1902. The Madrid Football Club is founded by some fans. It would later become Real Madrid. I mean, this is the most famous soccer team in the world, right? I mean, it was voted, I know, like the team of the 20th century.
Okay.
But you know, I don't follow this. I don't know if you know.
That's why I don't know. I don't know.
But anyway, happy 124th birthday to Real Madrid.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Mount Laurel, New Jersey for the good, where I've seen this get banned by Girl Scouts all over the country, but not in Jersey. Because in South Jersey, a troop teamed up with the Daylight Dispensary to sell their cookies at the cannabis shop this cookie season. And as you could imagine, they're having record sales. Dispensary owner Steve Cassidy told NJ.com, you use cannabis, you get the munchies. There's a connection between snacks and cannabis. And the fact that we don't have to pretend that doesn't exist anymore is really awesome. You know what? It is. I'll stick with Thin Mints. Frozen. Much better. Don't know what to tell you. Folks in Oregon had to watch out for some slippery traffic in Coos County. According to a social media post, that there was a fish spill on Walker Lane, and the fish spill was so slick that it was causing drivers to slide. There is a photo showing a line of fish stretching down the road to an intersection. Officials asked drivers to use extra caution in the area. And for the ugly, we go to Las Vegas. This is something. Leave it to a Canadian to be a jerk. This time it's jerk Canadian Mitchell Fairbairn of Ontario. Faces 4 counts of felony animal abuse because apparently he stole a flamingo from the Flamingo Hotel and took the bird back to his room. How do we know that he did it? Well, because this jackass took pictures of himself basically choking the flamingo. You can see him with it in the elevator, and, you know, as we all know, there are cameras everywhere in Vegas. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 6th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, offering great pay, signing bonus, overtime opportunities aplenty. Information on that job and other jobs in the Cape, go to capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
7 games in the association. Heat are in Charlotte. By the way, the Hornets are above 500.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a play-in, but they're above 500. Heat in Charlotte. Miami trying to get out of the play-in. They're half a game behind Philly. Knicks are also in Denver, which is an interesting regular season game. But the ESPN double dip is Dallas at Boston, the Clippers at the Spurs. And for Boston, Jason Tatum expected to play tonight, 10 months after blowing out his Achilles at Madison Square Garden in the second round of the playoffs. Remarkable. College basketball, only a couple of games involving ranked teams, both at 9 o'clock tonight. St. John's is at Seton Hall at FS1, a must for Seton Hall to make the tournament. But 30-0 Miami of Ohio. They haven't won in Athens, Ohio in 15 years.
Can't believe this isn't until 9 o'clock. I'm going to have to work to stay up for it.
9 o'clock ESPN2. Can they finish the regular season 31-0, winning in a place they haven't won since 2011? By the way, FGCU against Lipscomb, 2:30 in the A-Sun quarters. Loser goes home. NHL trade deadline in 5 hours and 8 minutes. Panthers are in Detroit. Be interesting if anybody from Florida is just walking across to the other locker room.
There's a few players I could think that I wouldn't mind having to stay.
Games on NHL Network. I know you don't get that.
Oh, son of a...
Colorado's at Dallas. That's pretty interesting. Dallas still has that winning streak. Yeah, they've won 10 in a row. Huh. So, anyway, there you go. So, a lot of hoop, little golf. All right, getting closer to NFL free agency. World Baseball Classic tonight, by the way. USA in action, 8 o'clock on Big Fox. Have yourself a great weekend. Daylight savings time this weekend. We lose an hour's sleep.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do.